Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Buckeye Bro Show. This is a show where we talk to you about Buckeye football, Buckeye basketball, and Buckeye things, and other sports and teams as we see fit. I am your royal host, Alex Brown, aka King Buckeye, and I'm here as always. Womp womp. With the ghost of Travis Snapper once again.
He was doing so good.
He'll be here tonight, though, allegedly.
Allegedly.
But he's here with us in spirit until then. But we have our other Buckeye bro here. He's the guy with the sports supply, the sports guy, Ryan Hill. What's up, Ryan?
First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to my cousin, wishing her a happy birthday. I will be down in Georgia tomorrow to celebrate with them. So be watching Penn State from down there with the dogs.
So you're going down to Georgia. Is that what they wrote the song Devil Went Down to Georgia for after?
I mean, you know what? It seems fitting at this point.
There you go.
I'm down there quite a bit anymore, so.
I mean, it's basically your home. Are you gonna become a dog fan?
Never.
All right. Well,
trust me. When I go down there, and it might be wrong to say or whatnot, but like when I go down there and it's like Georgia and Bama playing, I'm rooting for Bama.
Wow.
I go at it with all the dog fans down there. I don't root for them ever.
That's crazy.
Whoever they're playing, last time I was down there, they were playing Tennessee, and I was rooting for Tennessee the whole time.
Wow. Were you shouting Rocky Top?
Hey, I'll do whatever it takes as long as they get that L.
Hey, listen, I get it. If I had,
I know you have a little soft spot.
If I had a root for an SEC team, even besides what you're alluding to, it probably would be Georgia, just because I like their color scheme and the.
I had nothing against them until like I've been down there.
And the one jersey with the spike collar, pretty sick. And
trust me, when they played,
and I'm a Packers fan, so you know the G.
Right. When they played Georgia, or when they played Bama that first time, when Tua came in and won the game in that natty, like I was rooting for Georgia that game. But at that time, I hadn't been down to Georgia and been annoyed with all the Georgia fans. If I went to Bama to like visit family, I'd probably be the opposite. It's just, yeah. I go down there, they instantly start talking mess to me because I'm an Ohio State fan, and I'm like, you know what? Screw the dogs.
I get it. The South is brutal, man. It's brutal down there.
Oh, I have a blast with them, though.
Yeah.
We have a good time.
Yeah. Too bad we have nothing to rub in their face, though.
We got nothing, and that they know that, so they always.
At least with Bama fans, even though they have a sooner win against us, we can always bring up 2014. So we could be like, hey, we won the first natty because we beat you to get there.
Exactly.
Even though they beat us for a natty. But it is what it is. We at least have something with them.
True.
But, all right. So, on tonight's show, we're going to talk about that Nebraska game. Reluctantly. We're going to talk about the Nebraska game. Then we're going to have Kyle Golick on. He is probably the most even-keeled, brutally honest Penn State fan you'll ever meet. Usually we have Loganity Morris on, but I wanted to get a different Penn State take this time around. And his team's doing pretty good. So, maybe he'll be more confident about his Nittany Lions this time around, because usually when I talk to him, he's not. So I'm very interested to hear what Kyle Golick's going to say about his team this time around. So we'll talk about the Penn State game coming up this Saturday. We'll have the Ryan rundown per usual. Then we will talk about what did we learn in college football this last weekend. A lot. Especially on, what was it, that Thursday? That Syracuse game?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Learned a lot this last weekend. We'll show you the college football playoff dead or alive list updated. Not a ton of movement this week, but a good amount of movement. So we'll check that out. And I'll own up to a mistake I made on the last list because I forgot to move a team down when they should have been moved down. So then after that, we'll have Hot Wheels Hot Takes per usual. We will talk about Jack Tuttle retiring from college football midseason. And then we'll finish it off by talking about Colorado being bowl eligible and give your thoughts and feelings on that. And then rapid fire picks. Who is in the lead after this last week? Is it still Ry the sports guy? Is it Travis? Is it me? Is it a three-way tie again? We'll find out. We'll find out. and then we'll send you on your way with some Wolverine whiffs. Sound good?
Let's do it.
Let's hit it. So, Ohio State comes off of their second and last bye week of the year. And, I keep praying during the Ryan Day era that we'll come off a bye week and just look like a well-oiled machine, right? It never seems to be the case, unfortunately, because once again, we come off a bye week and we just look flat as hell. But Ohio State would go up 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. So it looked like the offense was moving a little bit early on. And then things just kind of flatlined from there. Ohio State would only be up 14-6 at halftime. Defense looked a lot better than they did against Oregon. We can give them that. There were some spots where the defense was looking a little sus, but moreover than anything, the defense had a really good day, but the offense didn't have a good day. So all of a sudden, it was like the Oregon game flip-flopped, and it was really bad. Then Ohio State would be shut out in the third quarter, and all of a sudden we'd have a 14-9 game going into the fourth quarter, and immediately all the collective Buckeye buttholes would be clenched at that point. And boy, did they try to have us lose this game. The Phantom.
It really got clenched when we went down in the fourth quarter too.
Yeah, we ended up being down 17-14. Late in the fourth quarter, Ohio State would quickly answer, thank God. And then on Nebraska's last drive, there was a targeting call that wasn't targeting at all. And they later admitted that it wasn't. But, of course, that wouldn't have mattered if we lost this game. It would have just been like, oh, well, sorry. We screwed up. Just another one of those situations against Ohio. Ohio State and targeting go together like fire and oil. It's just not – it's never a good thing. It never goes our way, that targeting call. It's always against us.
Not trying to be like that fan, but do you think there's another team that's been affected by targeting as much as we have?
Absolutely not. I can name you 5 instances right now where it's hurt us. Denzel Ward against Maryland. Marv in the Georgia game.
Clemson game. Shaun Wade.
Which one?
I was saying Shaun Wade was the Clemson game.
Nick Bosa against Iowa, I believe, and Joey Bosa against Notre Dame. So, granted, we did win some of those games, but it's just the fact that it always goes against us, and some of the times it's cost us games.
One almost nipped us in the butt, too.
It's essentially cost us 2 playoff games, in reality.
Yep.
So,
because even with Marv going down in that game against Georgia, they give us the penalty and put the ball where it was supposed to be.
We scored another touchdown.
We're scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, instead of what, a field goal? So yeah, that would have made all the difference in the end. So it just never goes our way, and once again, it didn't go our way. But thank God, Nebraska's offense wasn't that great all game, and Dylan Raiola sealed the deal by throwing a pass right to Jordan Hancock to seal the game. And he would go 21 of 32, 152 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick. So he didn't have a great day. We were containing him in the pass game pretty well. The run game, though, he was getting loose a little bit from time to time. Yeah. And their run game was doing pretty well against us in a lot of phases. That Dante Dowdell, that's a mouthful. 14 carries, 60 yards, 1 tutty for him. Dylan Raiola had 31 rushing. And for us, Will Howard, 13 of 16 for 221, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. The 1 pick wasn't great. Wasn't great at all.
No.
But
it was rough. I mean, it was also like a great defensive play.
He was due. He was due after that great Oregon game. He was due. But, pretty great stats for only throwing 16 times. So I'll give it that. Ohio State, once again, not really trying to run the ball that much. Both Quidshawn and Henderson got 10 carries in this game. It looked a lot like the Oregon game where they barely got any carries. But both...
You think we weren't running the ball?
Say what?
You think we weren't running the ball?
It didn't seem like it. I mean, Will Howard...
Or maybe we went 3 and out so much that it felt like we were all out.
At one point, we did have to just rely on the pass. I'll give you that. But neither eclipsed 30 yards, so it was a bad rushing day for Ohio State for obvious reasons. Carnell Tate would be the leading receiver this time. 4 receptions, 102 yards, 1 touchdown for him. Jeremiah Smith, 3 receptions, 70 yards, 1 touchdown for him. He is now tied with Chris Carter for the most touchdowns by a freshman wide receiver at Ohio State. Obviously going to blow out that record. He's going to blow out the receptions. He's going to blow out all the records for a freshman wide receiver in Ohio State history. This man is an alien. And outside of that, we only threw it to like 3 other guys. So it wasn't a very eventful day offensively at all for Ohio State. And of course, Will Howard did fumble once, but he didn't lose it. Defensively, 13 tackles for loss. There's your big difference. That's the kind of defense we expected to see against Oregon and didn't get. I don't know what they changed, but it worked. So let's continue to do whatever that was, because 13 tackles for loss is amazing in any game you play. Cody Simon, he'd have the most tackles, 8 for him, 4 solo and 3 tackles for loss. Denzel Burke, bit of a bounce back game. He did get burnt on like 1 play again, but he had a better game this time around. 6 tackles for him, 5 solo tackles, and 2 tackles for loss. And, everybody sprinkled in there were 3 sacks by Tyleik Williams, Ty Hamilton, and JT Tuimoloau, who hopefully will have another Penn State game.
He just pulled him down by the back of his jersey.
Who will hopefully have another Penn State game up his sleeve.
Hopefully it's not just the fourth quarter.
Yeah, hopefully it's just the entire game. But Ohio State escapes Columbus with a win, 21-17 over Nebraska Cornhuskers. So, no open forum this time. Just give me the good, bad, and the ugly, Ryan.
I was hoping we do an open forum, but we'll do this.
Hey, I mean, if you want to, we can do an open forum.
I mean, it's okay. We'll go through with this. I'll just get the good out the way, because I don't think there's very much good to talk about when it comes to this game again for another week. The good is that we found a way to come out with the victory somehow. I think,
Nebraska doesn't win close games. That's what it came to.
Nebraska doesn't win close games. Ohio State was able to put together one drive there in the second half in the fourth quarter there, where they finally just let Will Howard open it up again, and he took it straight down the field in 3 or 4 plays. So the pass was there the entire game. Like, I know the offensive line was struggling, but like, Will Howard was efficiently moving the ball down the field through the air, even though like the stats might not completely back it up. I mean, 221, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, though. But it was solid. But overall, it just didn't seem like we were going to the air. That's why I kind of made that comment. Did we really not run it? Because I felt like, and I guess this will be like the ugly. The run game was just ugly. Offensive line, the scheme, whatever they had going on there, he was just, I can't even remember the guy's name, the left tackle who came in and got hurt in this game.
Zen Mikowski.
Zen Mikowski, yeah, he was just getting tortured over on that side. So
going to be available for the Penn State game.
That's probably a good thing for us.
Probably a good thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Depending on how we rotate things.
Yeah, the ugly there is the way that this run game completely went down, because, like, I was listening to Joel Klatt earlier speak about this on his show, and you got 2 of the greatest backs in the country right now with TreVeyon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah.
You have an ultimate play caller who specializes in designing plays for the run in Chip Kelly. And you have Will Howard, who can make plays with his feet too when needed. And you're getting less than about just over 2 yards a carry. Like you said, I don't think, neither one of them clips 30 yards in this game. Like, Judkins 2.9, TreVeyon Henderson 2.5, and Will Howard had 1.8 yards per carries. That's pathetic. With the amount of talent that Ohio State has in that running back room and everything, we thought this run game, I know I asked for 175 yards. I got 64 combined between all 3 of them. Like, that is downright pathetic when I come to think of this, especially after seeing what Indiana just did to Nebraska on the ground a week prior. Now, I know Nebraska prides themselves in stopping the run, and the week against Indiana, they really sold out to try and beat the pass and got torched in the run. So they really came in here with a chip on their shoulder, and maybe that's part of it.
They probably looked ahead last week against Indiana. True. They probably did.
Right. I mean, that could have been the case too, and you got embarrassed like that, so obviously you're going to do everything you can to stop that, and then Ohio State having like a makeshift offensive line after losing Josh Simmons in the Oregon game. But it's just something that, like, you think the talent out of Ohio State, like, nothing against the talent at Nebraska. They do have a solid little program that's on the up and up with Matt Rule and everything that he's brought in there.
Yeah.
But Ohio State's talent is superior to Nebraska. You should be able to push around and get what you want, especially even if it's not rolling early. You should be able to impose your will and get more than what you got out of this run game with the amount of talent there is, no matter how bad that offensive line left tackle is, with the amount of talent in the room and then the play calling coaches. Like, you have to schematically figure out ways to be creative and get that ball into space and help these running backs break loose and do what they do.
Right.
We try, like, I feel like we tried a lot. I mean, the attempts doesn't really look like it in the end, 10 and 10 apiece, but I feel like we were just trying to run so much in this game, and we just were met in a wall. Again, we couldn't get 1 yard on a short package situation. Like, we were just getting stuffed everywhere we went, and the run game was abysmal. It was non-existent.
I don't know what we were trying to do. I'll be honest. I don't know what we were trying to do. It seemed like anytime we were out on offense, just nothing was happening. So
right.
Yeah, it still blows my mind just how abysmal it was. And like every game since the beginning of the year, it seems like we're scoring less and less points every game.
Yeah. I mean,
so doesn't bode well. Doesn't bode well for this weekend.
Yeah, Akron was 52. Western Michigan was 56. That was our highest on the year. Marshall 49. Michigan State 38. Iowa 35. Which 35 against Iowa was solid because they have a really good defense. Yeah. And we were ecstatic. We said if they got to 40 in that game, we'd be really happy. And then they got to 35, so we took it.
Yeah.
31 against Oregon, 21 against Nebraska.
Yeah. We're going backwards.
1 of 10 on third down. That's not going to cut it.
Not at all. In no world is that cutting it.
If you want to be a national champ, if you just want to win the Big Ten, if you want to make it to the Big Ten championship game, that right there has to improve. 1 of 10 on third down is not getting you past Penn State this week.
No.
I'll tell you one thing, too. People might have laughed at the beginning of the year, but they ain't going to laugh now. 1 of 10 on third down will lose to Indiana.
No.
And you can kiss Indianapolis goodbye.
Yeah, we went 1 of 2 on fourth down as well. On that first offensive drive, we tried going for it on a 4th and 1.
Yeah, I think that was the 1 yard package right there that I was just alluding to there and got stuffed. We couldn't get it in it. So it was just ugly. The offense in general, like when they did let Will Howard throw it, like I said, it looked like the offense got in a rhythm. I mean, he was able to find Carnell Tate for that pass, and then he had his longest completion of the year to Jeremiah Smith there for a 60-yard touchdown. It was open. Nebraska was selling out to stop the run, yet we just continuously went back to try and run it against a team that we weren't doing against. All I could think about was the Northwestern game when we couldn't pass to save our life with Justin Fields in that offense in the Big Ten championship game, but Trey Sermon was tearing it up on the ground, but yet we felt like the need to just continuously throw it when it wasn't.
That was.
It's like whatever.
That was one of the most infuriating games I've probably ever watched, because anytime we ran it, it seemed like it went for like 15 yards a pop, and then we were like, "Oh, let's try to pass it again." No, just keep fucking running it down their throat, Ryan. What do you do? You're overthinking it. Just keep running it down their throat.
That's become a trend here for him. Like, I know Chip Kelly's the play caller here, but Ryan Day still got his hands involved in this too. And it's just whatever doesn't work, they try so hard in a game to force it to work. Yeah. They want to get it fixed mid-game. And sometimes you just have to scratch it and just go to the bread and butter on what's working that day. You have to be like, okay, today's the run game, it's not our day. Go out there and do what you got to do to get the plays, get the pass game working, and vice versa. If the pass game ain't working and the run game's working, feed the hot hand. You got to do it. But we were able to sneak by Nebraska, but trying to force something to work is not going to get you past these other opponents down the line. It's just not. They got to figure it out.
Logan says it's a great weekend for a Penn State W, boys.
He might be on to something.
Might.
He just might.
It might be his year.
It might be. I thought if there was a year, last year was it. It might be this.
It might be his.
Our only saving grace is it's not a night game.
Yeah.
But also, where was I about to go? I had
And they had
Julian.
they have Julian Fleming as one of their wide receivers. That's a saving grace as well.
Right.
They got that one. They got that one weapon in the pass game, and then they got some running backs.
A good for us and a bad for Nebraska. Dylan Raiola wasn't able to be accurate on open wide receivers.
Yeah, thank God.
Because if he could have hit any of them,
we lose.
It's a different game Saturday too. Because he had guys wide open still. Like the defense was getting pressure, and they were doing their thing. But when he had to throw it down the field, guys were open. It wasn't like they weren't.
He was a freshman, and thank God, because we lose that game if he plays any
This
better.
is a different outcome. He had the one crossing to the back of the end zone that would have put him up too. And
yeah, it would have been bad.
Yeah, so good for us on that one. Bad for Nebraska. What else was there? The crowd again. Just no energy.
Yeah, the scoreboard end zone was almost like it seems like it was half full at the end of the game before it was even over.
Right. Even though they were stating on TV, no one's left.
Yeah, they definitely did for sure. You know what? There was something from this game where I was like, I'm glad that happened, and that was when we missed that field goal because I was like, all right, maybe we wouldn't have beaten Oregon if we got the field goal try.
I do remember you saying that once we missed that field goal.
and by the
it's possible.
And by the way, weren't we supposed to have a punter that punts for like 80 yards and he's averaging like 40 a punt?
He's the worst ranked Big Ten punter in
unbelievable.
Right now.
How are we not like? Do I have to find like young clones of Mike Nugent to get him to come kick for Ohio State forever? Do I got to get like AJ Trapasso or Drew Chrisman at punter, like clones of them that come back and play for Ohio State? Why can't we find kickers and punters worth a damn anymore? Especially kickers.
It beats me.
I don't get it.
We've had punters lately. Just this one's been rough.
This one's been rough.
Yeah, kicking wise, it's just been brutal for years now.
I don't get it. Like I miss the days of like even when we had Drew Basil like 10 years ago. Like even he was reliable. I'm like, all right, you
trot him out there, you just know.
Yep.
Okay.
Like that's why Mike Nugent is and forever will be my favorite Buckeye. Like he's the guy who I was like,
you don't appreciate a kicker until you don't.
That's a reliable fucking guy right there. That's the best fucking kicker in the entire country, and that's why I won the Groza. He's the best kicker in the entire fucking country. So
my last thing for this game is you gotta find a leader on this team. You have to, because there's no energy. There's no energy from this team.
How do you find a leader when your head coach doesn't really lead that well?
That's what I'm saying. Like you got to figure out something. Someone has to bring it. The culture is down bad right now.
We've been saying that for forever.
Yeah, and it definitely. Like I understand if you're not all crazy and hyped up if you're blowing a team out, but in a big game like this, you expect someone. And I know you saw it online too, probably out there, but you expect someone to go out there and grab someone and be like, "Let's get shit together."
Zach Boren's talked about it. A bunch of other people, former Buckeyes, have talked about it. It's true.
The only thing we celebrate is when we get a tackle for loss or if we actually score, and then it's like, all right, back to the sideline. Nothing.
And happens. I said it during the Oregon game when it happened. Like when Davis and Igbinosa got spit in the face, I'm like, why is nobody like getting in somebody's fucking face? Like, come defend your dude. You talk about this brotherhood that used to exist. Where's it at? Where the fuck is it at? Nobody defends anybody. Like
I think they're just sad that we're not doing the TikTok dances anymore.
Like some Penn State player this weekend could see Will Howard on the ground and cleat him in the dick, and whole offensive line could see it and go, whatever.
Okay, get up, Will.
Get up, Will. Here you go. And
I want the same energy that I saw in the Charger game where the guy was holding Justin Herbert down in the lineman.
Hey man, he went in on that dude and got him off his quarterback. Like where?
And you know what? He didn't get a flag or anything for it.
Where is it? It's like The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That is what this era of Ohio State football has been since really 2021. I mean, it was
extremely talented, top to bottom.
It was masked by like just sheer talent the first couple of years of winning the Big Ten and doing what we did, and then after that, it's just been like a joke.
Yeah, you can tell when we had the Urban players the first few years after after Urban left that there was still that fierce competitiveness in the team. There was that fire, but now as we've completely went into the Ryan Day era with his players, it's just not there. There's no
before the season and before the Oregon game, I was like, here's Ryan Day's chance to everything that's ever been said about him negatively. Here's a chance for him to prove it all wrong, and all he ever does is prove it all right. And it's just like, God, man, look at it. Look at it all. I get you have a great record. You haven't lost to an unranked team. You almost damn did. But, Urban almost lost to Nebraska once too. Okay. Whatever. But it's like, hey, there is a broader problem here than just barely beating Nebraska or losing a big game to Oregon or Georgia.
And I know I've seen people talk about this younger fan base wouldn't be able to handle a 2002 season with how close a lot of those games were, and we still went on to win the Natty. It's just
that was
you
different.
Knew with Tressel, you knew what type of ball we were playing with Tressel,
and there was a good culture there. We were built on tough fucking defense and mediocre offense that got it done most of the time.
And I know you gave and I'll give credit to the defense for the tackle for losses, but a lot of that also was just passes to the line of scrimmage.
Which is fair because of the screen passes. You're right. But I'm glad they made the tackles. They
made the plays. That's why I said I'm going to give them credit, but I'm only going to give them like half credit because they did what they were supposed to do.
You're right.
But
you're right.
They did come in there and they tried some different things. They were more aggressive on the defensive side of the ball, and I love to see that. So I'm happy the defense made adjustments, but now you got to figure out what type of adjustments you need to make on the offensive side of the ball because we have not been able to just put everything together. We'll have offense here, clicking, defense here, clicking, offense here. Never can we just get it together anymore.
Against a team with somewhat of a pulse.
Correct. Oh yeah,
against Western Michigan, it was clicking on all cylinders, but
I don't even count those games. Yeah. That's just
I'm glad we got the shutout. Thank fuck. But just against teams in conference or just teams with a pulse, it's like we just can't get them both to be right there, right at the high level. So
not when it matters.
Yeah. Listen, from the we got rid of that special teams coach who was absolutely abysmal, but it's almost like he's still there. We just have special teams issues galore. We still can't return a punt for more than 5 yards. We still can't.
No, I've kind of given up on that we were going to punt return. It looked promising at the start of the year.
We still can't trust a kicker for anything. Even Noah Ruggles, who looked great year one, and then of course year two. In a playoff game when we needed him most, he kicked it all the way to Australia off the side of his foot.
The crazy part is his downfall was in that Utah game when he just looked at the guy.
Yes,
it
was.
After that,
it was almost like karma. And then
he took the spring and he took the summer off.
Which hopefully that never happens again. That would never happen under Urban's tutelage ever. But it's just like, good God. Just when you think the offense is the most reliable thing, it goes to shit. And then when you start to believe in the defense, it goes to shit. This team could very well lose a couple more games the rest of the season. Indiana's legit.
I said they have a possibility of not making the playoffs.
Yeah. If they continue to play in a non-complete way and keep fucking around, they're going to find out. And boy, if this team doesn't make the playoffs, I don't care if you beat the team up north. I don't know how you survive that.
At this point, just beating the team up north is my only
Yeah,
goal in the year.
this team has to make the playoffs in some way. Like, it would suck not winning the Big Ten. I would forgive a little bit if we didn't, as long as we beat the team up north. But not making the playoff with this team, boy, Ryan Day would be out of mulligans at that point. He really would.
Oh, absolutely.
AJ Garza, a Wolverine fan I've known for a long time, he goes, I was literally just saying that they could lose a couple more. Beating a bad Michigan team is a pretty low goal, don't you think? Beating the team up north at any record is never a low goal, especially when you've lost the last 3, even though you cheated. You got to win that game. You got to win that game.
Right. I mean, that's the rivalry game. If you're saying that, then do you really take it
But
that
we
serious?
really should be able to, like, come in blindfolded and beat the team up north. It should not be that hard.
Honestly, to what I watched last weekend, I'm not taking anything.
I get it. I totally agree. And they got very fortunate to even beat Sparty, for crying out loud. But God, if you're gonna get a win in this rivalry, you better be able to do it when they're down. So
I wouldn't be so mad at how we played against Nebraska if that's how we played, like, coming off the Iowa game. The fact that we lost to Oregon, which, whatever, we lost to Oregon, who's a really good football team, and we lost by 1 point at their house, how we lost. But the fact that this team spoke for 2 weeks straight talking about that game left a bad taste in their mouth, and they wanted to get out there, and they just wanted to play smash-mouth football and impose their will. And then they come out there and give us that crap.
And remember what I said about Denzel Burke after that game and how I wish he would just shut up and not say anything before games anymore. Then
Yeah.
Ryan Day goes and says, today is about actions, not words. Like, if you guys are going to say all this, like, textbook, rah-rah, sis-boom-bah bullshit, at least back it up.
Back it up.
One time.
You have all the talent in the world to back
it up.
Why aren't you doing so?
It just blows my ever-living mind how much theatrical shit we say. Like you'd see in a movie, and then just in the gutter.
The amount of hate that I hear for Will Howard, blaming him for all this crap. I'm like, he was the only saving grace as to why we won this game.
He's the only guy that seems to give a fuck half the time.
There's only 2 guys that seem to give a fuck, and that's 2 guys that transferred in. Will Howard and Caleb Downs.
Yeah, they really do.
No one else has a fire. Sometimes you'll see it out of Jack Sawyer. Sometimes you'll see it out of JT Tuimoloau. Do you ever see it all at the same time? No. This could easily go down to being one of the most disappointing seasons
I don't see
seen.
any killer mentality like a lot of the former players have been saying. There's no killer mentality at all. And God, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a team that just lost to the rivals 3 straight years, watch them win a natty, and then go out there and make all these moves to be the best team in college football. Then you come out here and play like this. Yeah. Like, what are we doing?
My dude Wendell Collier says, O-line is a big disappointment. That kills our run game, and Will Howard is all that saved us. Facts.
He absolutely is. When
and,
they let
and,
him it worked.
Listen, I've defended Justin Fry because, Greg Studrawa was horrible at recruiting outside of 2 guys that he somehow landed in Paris Johnson and DeJuan Jones. So he took over the job behind the 8 ball, but he hasn't done anything.
He did. But he hasn't done anything to make it any better.
So
once Paris Johnson left,
I mean, I'll give it to him. He develops some guys like Josh Simmons, but it's not you don't see the development across the board, and
you're not getting the recruits.
There's no depth, and it's
one man goes down, and the whole season is allegedly gone.
And I keep hearing about how great Luke Montgomery is, and I never get to see him have any playing time.
Right. Now's the time.
Yeah, now's the time. Absolutely, now's the time.
Adjust the line. Figure it out.
Like we got a guy who played center for us last year in Hinsman.
Right.
And we aren't plugging him in when we have a guy go down. He can't play guard or somebody and like Donovan Jackson move over to tackle?
Donovan Jackson.
We can't plug him in? Like, what are we doing?
You can move. Either you can put Hinsman in at guard, you can put Seth in at guard. Like, they both are interchangeable. Like, they both have been able to play any position.
They should be.
I don't know about all out there.
Right. I don't get it. But we unfortunately have like no time to figure it out because this Saturday. You wanted Jermaine Matthews to play. He did a little bit.
He did.
You didn't get really what you wanted though. Defense reestablished identity.
I think so. They were more aggressive at least.
Getting pressure on the quarterback.
3 sacks.
Yeah, for the most part. You jokingly said.
I guess I need to put.
You jokingly said on one of the sacks you wanted a backflip afterwards. I don't think you got that, but it is what it is.
I said I was gonna backflip if we got a sack. I didn't.
You did. Yeah, well, I don't.
I was gonna do the backflip if we got 1 sack.
I don't think you want to attempt that, bud.
I don't.
Don't give it.
No one wants to.
Don't give up 500 yards. I think we didn't do that. Will Howard played like he did against Oregon for the most part.
Yeah, I was pleased with Will Howard.
Yeah, you wanted 250, 3 tutties. You got the 3 tutties, not quite the 250.
I mean, basically almost the 250. It was just they were not willing to really let him pass it.
Yeah. And then you wanted the run game more involved. You did not get that by any stretch of the imagination. And you said 52-28 Buckeyes. Not remotely close for any of us on the score predictions, by the way. I wanted Howard 300 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, not quite. 200 rushing yards, 2 tutties, not even remotely close. I wanted the defense to respond. They did. 1 turnover. Don't believe we got any. Oh yeah, we did at the end of the game.
We did.
So
the very end.
Yep. Which was the perfect time to get it.
I mean, well, I guess the ones just came back.
300 total yards given up or less. Got that. And I said 42-17 Buckeyes. Travis, he wanted 250 and 3 tutties from Howard. And no mistakes. Right. He did make a mistake. He wanted the run game and wanted to run down their throats. 2 rushing tutties. Not happening. Jeremiah Smith, tune out the Oregon game. I think he did. That's another guy who gives a fuck. Jeremiah Smith. Sure. He gives a lot of fucks, and you can see it every Saturday.
But you got to target him more. He didn't have a single target in the second half to that one after that first drive.
Yeah, which was unacceptable. So they got to figure that out.
You got your best offensive player out there, and you don't target him.
You mean to tell me he was covered the rest of the game? No shot.
Right.
No shot. And
if he is covered, Buka better be open.
I did like that they let Howard throw more deep balls in this one, though. I did appreciate that. Travis wanted 2 turnovers. He only got 1. And 250 or less total yards given up. I believe he got that. And 49-3 Buckeyes he had it. So we were way the fuck off on the score predictions. So back to the comments here. Wendell says, and fans were blaming Howard for the Oregon loss. He threw for over 300 yards against Oregon. He sure did. AJ Garza, Wolverine fan, says, I think the PSU game is a toss-up if Franklin doesn't shit down his own leg like normal. Very true. If you lose PSU, then I don't see them beating Indiana if they keep playing this well. Playing Indiana before Michigan, and if you lose that one, Columbus is imploding, and that bad Michigan team just might have a chance. Let's hope not. Wendell says, only way Michigan beats us is if the team just completely gives up. Michigan is absolutely pitiful. They got fortunate against Sparty. And AJ replies, well, if they lose to Penn State, then Indiana the week before they play Michigan, I think that's the worst thing that can happen to Ohio State. Yeah, that's very true. Very true. All right, let me try to get my boy in here real quick. Kyle Golick. Let me see if I can remember how to do this. And
real quick, I'll give a shout to my buddy Dustin, who's in the chat.
Yeah, I saw him comment. He was.
I give him. He
was talking some mess.
Yeah, he was. He loves to talk mess. I'm sure I'll be hearing about it the whole time that I'm down there.
Yeah.
In Georgia.
Let me try to ring him here.
He's here.
Yeah, there he is. All right, now let me. I gotta add his little thingy here. Hold up. Because I didn't do this beforehand, like I did with Brandon. So let me put his Skype in here. Perfect. All right. Beautiful. Can you hear us, Kyle?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear as well, good sir. Welcome to the Buckeye Bro Show, Kyle.
I am honored to be here. I don't know how many people
Hey, we appreciate it.
enjoy coming on. I was listening to your show earlier. Let me just throw this name out there for you. I think you can get Tom Tupa out of the old folks home and be a better punter than the one you got this year.
Absolutely. God,
You ain't kidding.
I wish. Yeah, this punter that we have was hyped all preseason because we got him, of course, from Australia or something. And apparently, like, they showed videos of him booting 80-yard punts, and I'm like, oh, sweet, that's great.
There was no one else on the field, and he
have
didn't
yet to see him punt it for more than like 50, I think. So this guy's just been a total dud, as has our entire special teams. So that's just how it goes in Buckeye world, I guess. But welcome to the show, Kyle Golick. This is his first time on, and like I said, he is probably the most unbiased, unfiltered Penn State fan that I've ever met. And probably that exists.
I'll be at the game on Saturday. I'll be covering the game for Mike Farrell Sports.
Yes, he is with Mike Farrell Sports, and he does some stuff for College Football Dogs as well. So me and Kyle go way back, probably like 5+ years, I imagine. At this point.
Yeah. Probably even longer.
Even longer than that. Yeah. So we've talked a lot in the past on smacking off and all that good stuff. So obviously we go into this one. This is the first time since 1996, and the second time overall, where Ohio State and Penn State have both been ranked in the top 5 for this matchup, which is crazy to think about, given the fact that this has been like bloodbaths most of the time when these two teams play. Penn State a couple times in the 2000s beat Ohio State and robbed us of what we were aiming for, and we've robbed Penn State sometimes of things they were aiming for. Obviously, 2016 was the last time we lost to Penn State, and that was a rough one for Ohio State fans to have to go through. So, Kyle, I'm very interested to hear your confidence in this Penn State team, because anytime I've talked to you, it's like doom and gloom. But I can't imagine that you're doom and gloom about this Penn State team with a 12-team playoff. What is your confidence level?
So my confidence level's pretty high. It would be a lot higher if we had a full healthy squad. I was up at Penn State practice and was watching Drew Allard doing ball security drills and doing full speed stuff that was available to the media today. And he looks like he's ready to go. I mean, unless barring something that happens between now and Saturday, it would be almost a shocker if Allard does not play. The guy I'm looking for, making sure that does play, is denied Dennis Sutton. Now, Franklin, I really like the leadership that's behind him in Smith Vilbert and Amin Vanover. They're both seniors, and they both complement Abdul Carter really well in Tom Allen's pass rush scheme. But I'm really also intrigued by the next in line. He's a true freshman that reclassified for this year, so that way he could play. His name's Max Granville. He's out of Texas. He's like our version of Jeremiah Smith, like how he's been blown up. It's like Franklin does not want to burn his shirt, but he may be forced to if Denied can't go, because part of what's making there's two key things that's been making the Penn State defense be as good as Ohio State's. Because if you look at the stats, Penn State and Ohio State are like neck and neck in pretty much everything defensively. The one thing Ohio State has a distinct advantage on is they're able to get to the quarterback a little bit better this year than Penn State did. But
which is laughable to think about.
It is.
Given how bad we've been at
the country in sack.
Yeah.
So it's mind blowing. But the two key pieces to the defense that makes Penn State go is, number one, Zane Durant. He is right there with Talik. Like, I believe your big defensive lineman in the center is Talik Williams. Is that his name?
Talik Williams. Yep.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's our version of Talik at Penn State. Does the same thing. Complete, absolutely physical monster and specimen that NFL scouts are just absolutely drooling over.
Yeah.
And then when we lost KJ Winston against, I believe it was Bowling Green, Jalen Reed has stepped up big time, and his stock is soared. He's a senior this year. I got to talk to him after the Wisconsin game, talk to him about the pick six at Camp Randall. He said that was his signature play, and he felt his second interception. He had a second interception at night. He has been the Swiss Army knife in that secondary, being able to play up close and into the back. So I feel really confident with where Penn State is, more so than I've had in previous years. The other aspect is I feel our offensive line is not just as good, but probably better than what you guys have. I know you guys are dealing with some injuries, especially at the left tackle position.
Yeah.
But did you guys watch Ione Vega's viral pancake against UCLA, where he absolutely obliterated the defender?
He's been doing
one of those every game. And then, look, I talked with Phil Troutline, and he played for Urban Meyers' Florida teams back in the late 2000s, our offensive line coach. We got a true freshman named Cooper Cousins that gets in it sometimes because Sal Wormley's gotten hurt, Anthony Donko's gotten hurt, and Donko's probably going to play on Saturday. But he compared him to the Pouncey brothers. Both Marquise and Mike. If you're telling me I got a true freshman that's on par
with me nervous.
So I'm gonna take that all day long. So I feel really good about where Penn State is entering this game. I wish Alar was 100%. I wish Winston.
I think your backup's good.
Well, and that's the thing. A lot of Penn State fans were getting upset throughout the year because Franklin kept running the Bo package. So if you remember the last time Penn State was in a top 5 matchup like this, it was in Iowa City against Iowa. And that was the game Sean Clifford got hurt when Penn State was winning and Taquan Roberson couldn't function at all offensively. And it was the Chinese water torture game where you knew Penn State was going to lose.
Yeah, I remember that.
Lose painfully, and they did. That's why the Bo package is in there. So I really like where Penn State's backup is there. And look, they're even working in Ethan Grunkmeyer. So This is definitely something that I'm really happy about where the Nittany Lions are.
Talk to me about Tyler Warren, because that guy is a dog.
So he has been so accessible and really good. He is a hard worker. Yeah. He was a quarterback in high school, then has done some fullback work, and now he's blossomed into a tight end in that room. He is all about tailoring his craft, and he really is a Brock Bowers for us. I didn't see this coming, to be honest. I knew he was good, but I didn't see to the point where he would have 17 receptions versus a USC good. I didn't see like how he's been this dynamic weapon in Kotonicki's scheme. So he can do everything. Like, and Franklin, every presser is always saying he's the best tight end in America. And coaches like to run their mouths.
I'm starting to believe it.
You got to at this point. I mean, I literally watched him seal off many blitzers against Wisconsin, and I was like, that should have been a sack of Bo.
Yeah.
He is truly at all facets, whether it's blocking, whether it's running the ball, whether it's a receiver. He can do everything. And again, his signature play is that one against Southern Cal where he took the snap and caught the touchdown. So
he came out of nowhere in that game. I was like, who is this kid? All of a sudden he's lined up, and then all of a sudden he just runs a go route straight to the end zone and completely mosses a guy.
They practice that stuff all the time, and
it's nuts.
They're not afraid to go to it. That's what's gonna I'm gonna just say mind fuck Jim Knowles, because they're gonna be like, wait a minute, what are you doing? How do you defend this? Like, and that's you look at the defensive quartet that Riley brought in at USC. He brought in Danton Lynn, brought in Matt Entz from North Dakota State, Doug Belk, who has this thing, and Eric Henderson from the Rams, who coached Darren Donald. And they're all sitting there and they're pulling their minds out because they're like, how do we defend this?
Oh, I lost my co-host. Hold up. Keep going. You're good. Oh, there we go. Well, I got him.
Well, that was the end.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I was here.
Yeah. Honestly, I've been more impressed with Warren than I've ever been of Colston Loveland, and we all know how Wolverine fans like to slurp that guy off. I mean, he's really their only weapon, so I get it.
And Alex, another reason I'm feeling confident is, I was at last year's game. In that game, the only reason to me Ohio State won last year is you guys had Marvin Harrison. And we didn't. Like,
that's true.
If you
Kyle McCord tried to give you that game. He tried.
Yeah, I mean, Curtis Jacobs had that scoop and score, and it was because Kalen King couldn't handle Marvin Harrison, penalized on the play. That game's a completely different ball game. If that score happens, that would have gave Penn State some confidence there at the shoe where you can't just give those things up. You look other aspects as Alar's matured, because I remember sitting there post game. And he was asked to assess his performance. And he goes, "I sucked. Can you elaborate on it?" Because I did. And he pouted there, sitting there. It probably his lowest moment. He wasn't lying. He did suck that day. I mean, I'm not going to.
I don't put that all on him though. A lot of that was Yursich. Yursich was awful.
Yursich gave us.
There's a reason we fired him. There's a reason.
Well, he gave us the ultimate middle finger. If you watch the I'm going to use your term, Michigan game. If you remember that final 2-point, if you remember that 2-point conversion play that he threw in there when Penn State got it to 24-15, that was kind of like he was fired the next morning. It wasn't even close.
Mike Yursich. I said when you guys hired him, I'm like,
you were
mistake. Just like when USC hired Alex Grinch for their DC, and Tim Bailey tried to argue with me. He's such a great coach, though. I'm like, no, he's a crappy defensive coordinator. He sucks.
Tim thought Oklahoma would run the SEC.
Tim thinks a lot of things that don't end up true, but he'll never admit it. He'll never admit when he's wrong. He'll always find another way, another spin to make it so he wasn't wrong. Something just happened. So it is what it is. But when it comes to James Franklin, so this is just like what it was with Dan Lanning and Ryan Day, right? Both of them, they couldn't win the big game. Somebody had to, right? And of course it was Dan fucking Lanning. This is the same type of deal. James Franklin gets criticized for not winning big games, especially against Michigan and Ohio State, and Ryan Day gets criticized for not winning big games against top 5 opponents. Something's got to give. James Franklin 1-9 against Ohio State. I know Penn State fans don't like that, and I wouldn't blame them. What is your confidence in James Franklin when it comes to this game?
My confidence in him is high. So I pressed Franklin at Big Ten Media Days back in Indianapolis in July, and I alluded to one of the what Penn State fans refer to as a moral victory against Ohio State, the 2018 game, where Penn State sacrificed a 12-point lead with 6 minutes, 6:39 to go, and Ohio State won by a point in Happy Valley, which is the highest attended Penn State game ever, which probably will get challenged this weekend, as well. It was 110-89. So that was the infamous good to great to rant. I mean, good to great to elite. I said it to Franklin at Media Days, rant. He went on this diatribe and yelled at me. He's like, "It's not a rant. It was a speech." And
that's great.
And so here's what I've seen out of Franklin this year is I've seen a maturation in his play calling. Like the stones that he had with the USC game when that game was on the line, I've never seen him do that before. And it was like a combination of him showing confidence in his team and his team having the ability to deliver, which we'll get into Fleming in a bit. Which you will have fun with that. I honestly think with Penn State teams, he didn't have the talent to match up with Ohio State. There was always a deficiency somewhere. So you guys, for the longest time, had a monopoly on the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year award, because whoever was the starting quarterback at Ohio State won the damn thing. It seemed like you had elite edge rushers that were going in the top 5 picks. It seemingly wherever. We never had that. you look at, again, the offensive line was another component. We never had offensive lines that were able to do what they're doing this year. So it always seemed Penn State would have most of those pieces, but missing one, and Ohio State would have that piece. So this is the first year I really feel Penn State has the distinct talent advantage. And I get nothing against Will Howard. I know he's all fired up with a chip on his shoulder saying, well, Franklin told me I didn't have the talent to play at Penn State. I don't know if I buy it or not, but I wrote a column about it on Mike Farrell Sports. I look, the guy's completed 80% of his passes in 4 of the last 5 games. Kid got talent, so he needs to he'll be ready to go. Yeah. I think this is the first time Franklin has a distinct talent advantage. Now it's time to see, can he take advantage of it?
That's fair. Julian Fleming. Let's talk about him a little bit. One, the man needs to let the hair go. The hairline is so far back at this point. It's hard to see his little player picture on social media. I just got to throw that out there. I love Julian Fleming. He was a guy that was highly recruited. Didn't pan out, unfortunately, because of injuries and stuff. And I was hoping for his sake he'd find new life at Penn State. I don't think he quite has. Has he brought like a leadership to your team? Like what is he to Penn State?
So I remember when you guys got Fleming and I told you he's like Geno Lewis 2.0. And you called me a hater.
I did.
And he turned out to be exactly.
Yeah, you were right. You were absolutely right. I remember that.
So watching him, he was a nothing factor for pretty much up to the USC game. And then the USC game, he had these 2 monster catches. So we open up the first series against Wisconsin on Saturday, and he's wide open, like literally wide open on a route there where if he makes the catch, he walks right into the end zone. Penn State's up 7-0 early on Wisconsin, drops the ball. I don't think Aller targeted him much after that. That's been the story of Fleming's career. It's when he needs to make the big play, it's a crapshoot. You guys probably know much more than me, and that's probably a reason you got buried on the depth chart, is you couldn't trust him to make the play when you
honestly
needed him to.
He didn't get buried on the depth chart. They kept playing him, and I'm like, why? Because we got guys like Brandon Ennis on the bench who's way better than him already. We had guys better than him, and we kept trotting him out there because we play the senior card. Like if you're on the team longer, you get playing time, and it's like, I get it. He can get a big play. I mean, against Team Up North last year, he was serviceable, but he kind of sucked.
So to answer the one part of the question that you had is, what has he brought to Penn State? His intangibles are absolutely fantastic, and is what leads the team. He's still a great route runner. He's a great blocker. He does a lot of the little things right, and it's really helped in the development of Amari Evans, and Trey Wallace, who've kind of been Penn State's top receivers. Even has opened up space for Liam Clifford to kind of play that like mini slot guy, kind of like how Drake Stoops was for Oklahoma. Right. Just like that one guy, you're like, how did this guy get open this much? He does those things well. He also helps, create the culture in the room. Franklin has lauded Fleming for all these little things. That's why he's getting rewarded. Probably the reason why Ryan Day always trotted him out there is because if you're putting in the work that he does and you're doing the attention to detail stuff, you can't help but putting the kid out there and hoping that he can work it out during game day. That's the only time you can do it. It's the unfortunate thing. If he's doing it in practice, you hope it translates on game day. Unfortunately for Fleming, that's what's kept him from really realizing that 5-star potential that he had all them years ago.
Yeah. So let's talk about this game here. Give me the keys for Penn State to pull out a victory in Happy Valley Saturday.
So one of the things James Franklin got questioned big time on during the Bowling Green game was about the offense being sluggish. Franklin said, we just didn't get enough plays that game. So you guys struggled against Nebraska last week. I think Ohio State was able to under 50 plays for the first time in like almost like 50 games.
Yeah.
It's like rare. Like you guys typically get 65 to 70 plays a game. You were almost 20 to 25 plays under
the new
your
clock
norm.
rules don't help. Like they've hurt a lot of teams.
You're still about 65.
They've hurt a lot of teams.
That's huge. Like don't even at 15 plays, like 15, 16 plays under. That's huge. So when you have fewer opportunities and you're not executing the way you're going to be at, obviously your ground game was struggling. You know, that's what Penn State needs to do. Penn State is one of the best third quarter teams in the country. They've only allowed 30 points all season in the third quarter. So if Penn State has a lead, or even if it's even slightly behind Ohio State, it's that third quarter where Penn State makes its move. Penn State's also notorious slow starter. They have to avoid that against Ohio State because you guys have the ability to just beat us up. And with Jeremiah Smith, look, I saw Junkins at the Peach Bowl and watched him go for over 100 yards against Penn State. He is the real deal. Probably a bad game last week against Nebraska. I was up at Wisconsin, so I didn't get a chance to see that game.
He got his hand operated on. I think that's still bugging him.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I think, but Kid is the truth. I think left the SEC with the third or fourth most rushing yards for 2 seasons in SEC history. So Kid's a stud. Defensively, it's really going to be take advantage of Ohio State's offensive line issues and really get to the quarterback. Abdul Carter's been heating up. If Denai Dennison, even in a limited role, can give 15 to 20 impact snaps, that's dangerous. He has day one pick written all over him because his pressure rate is as good as Abdul Carter, and Abdul Carter's already seen as a day one guy. When you look into the secondary, Jalen Reed, AJ Harris, and Jalen Kimber are going to have their hands full. But really, the key in the Penn State secondary is Zachy Wheatley. He's had to come in and fill the void left by KJ Winston. And the thing with Wheatley is, he makes usually one bonehead mistake every game, whether it's and it hasn't cost Penn State yet, but the teams that he's allowed these mistakes to weren't able to capitalize on them. USC was able to do it, Illinois and UCLA, but they weren't good enough to beat Penn State. If Penn State's going to be successful, Wheatley has to keep things in front of him, even if he's got to give up some yards. Bend but don't break. And Penn State's one of the nation's top third down teams. I know you guys struggle in third down.
Especially
Penn
last
State
week.
One of 10.
Yeah, I think these guys were saying you guys were 110. But Penn State on third down this year is 50% conversion rate, which is 7th in the country.
Yeah, not bad.
So these are things that Penn State has to do. And the last thing is, I'm hoping either Quentin Martin or Corey Smith, who are true freshmen, are ready to go at the running back position. I don't feel Nick Singleton's 100% yet, and I think they're leveraging him in like an H-back type role. You're not seeing much between the tackles. Katron Allen has picked it up. Both those guys are studs. They're I think they're in the same class as Travion and Quinshon. But I don't think Singleton's 100%. And I think the Cam Wallace injury against Kent State has really come back to bite them, because Wallace was physically ready and he was the perfect third back in that rotation. Martin, I don't think, is physically ready yet as a true freshman. He's shown signs that he's explosive, but availability is important. And again, when Jawan Sider said in the one press conference, the running backs coach, it's my job to make sure our guys are ready. The combined carries for Corey Smith and Quentin Martin since he said that has been 3. So I don't think they're ready, and actions speak louder than words.
Ironic he brings that up where Day last week before Nebraska goes, this game is about actions, not words, and then we got an almost loss in Nebraska. I was talking to our boy Chris Scully last night on Smacking Off on the Your Team Sucks Donkey Ball segment, and he said something that I agree with, that this game, if Ohio State loses, it's insanely more impactful for them if Penn State were to lose, because if Penn State loses this game, they got 4 games after that are insanely winnable, and they still make the playoff. If Ohio State loses this game, you're not going to Indy. That's probably not happening at this point. Penn State would be in the driver's seat. Oregon's in the driver's seat already. Indiana might be able to squeak in there somehow if they win out. Maybe, I don't know. Just really depends. But yeah, this is like a playoff eliminator almost for Ohio State. Now Joel Klatt says 10-2 Ohio State gets in. That's assuming we go 10-2. If we lose to Penn State, then we're at 2 losses. I don't know the morale of the team at that point, like against an Indiana, is even serviceable.
And in that game, I might be covering at the shoe as well as that Indiana game. So if I do, I'll connect with you. But yeah, this is your season right here, and I feel it's the same way for Penn State in the aspect of they need to get over this hump. Yeah. And if they want, like, I get all their goals are still in front of them, even at 7-1. But you then your margin of error has just shrunk, right. And it's just their psychology with Penn State. What I've seen with these guys is when that shatters, they tend to blow a game where they shouldn't. Look at 2017 against Michigan State, the week after the gray out at the shoe. That was another horrible.
Funny story about that game.
I was in an airport on my way to London, and watching that go to hell in a handbasket. So trust me, like I said, this is a game like for Penn State, it's just as big for the Nittany Lions, because even though this team has shown a lot of confidence and a lot of mettle, and I think more culture wise, I don't trust them until they actually get it done.
That's true.
And if they don't get it done, I'm worried about them dropping a game that they shouldn't. And the game that I have circled for that would be Minnesota. Same. I just don't like Minnesota historically always clips a Penn State.
2019?
2019, 1999, and there was another one they did it. So
at least Minnesota was good in 2019. Like that was one of those okay, but now if it happened this year, it'd be like, oh boy.
Yeah, it's just I don't trust going to Minnesota that time in the season, because it just seems like this team they're still sleeping when they're up in Minnesota. Right. So yeah, I don't trust it. Like Minnesota's like our version of Purdue for you guys. Like you guys look at you go like, what the fuck? How do we lose to Purdue?
A lot. Funny story about that 2017 game. I worked at Target at the time, and I was working, and my buddy Matt calls me and goes, "Hey, I just spontaneously got tickets for me and Casey and you to go to the Penn State game. You coming?" And I let my moral compass get in the way, and they almost talked me into it. If he had kept me on the phone a little bit longer, I would have went to the bathroom, made myself throw up to make it look like I got sick, and I would have went home and went to that game. And I was like, no, I'm at work. I got to be at work. We'll never make that mistake again. Ever. Because I missed a monumentally great game, and I will never forgive myself for it.
The Joe Thomas Barrett.
Joe Thomas Barrett. I missed that game.
Even though it was a painful game for me, I've watched that game.
We crapped our pants the next week, so it was even after that.
Well, for me, I appreciate that game more. It was a great game. Like I said, it was Joe Moorhead's offense of not being able to kill clock and just be like, hey, let's just throw it up. And you're just giving Ohio State more opportunities to come back in that game. So it is what it is.
I was insanely vocal to the JT haters after that game, and a week later it was made a fool of. It was very rough for me. Ryan, I'll go to you. What does Ohio State have to do to win this game?
They
not
have
suck.
To.
I know. Check.
You know exactly where I'm going on all this, don't you? No, I mean, they have to get back to finding their identity on offense again. Because defensively, it seems like they got some things figured out. But I think, like we said, Penn State has a fantastic rush defense. We know that they rank top 5, I think, or at least top 10 in stopping the run. So you got to be able to establish the run this week. You're not going to get out of this game doing what you did against Nebraska. You're not going to have to just rely on being able to just pass the ball. Like, that's going to get you so far, but you can't be one-dimensional going into Happy Valley. Not against this team. I think Penn State's way too good of a team this year to get over that. So you have to find a way to get your run game involved. Will Howard's going to have to, take care of the ball again. Like that one interception last week, I don't think you're going to be able to live with turning the ball over this week, even with just the one.
Yeah.
He's going to have a clean game here. He's going to have to make the plays when needed, whether that's third down. You got to move the chains on third down.
Yeah.
If you got to. 1 of 10, again, goes back to the run game. It's not going to cut it. You have to convert those third down plays no matter what they are. Keep it in third and distance. Like, keep it third and short here. Don't get into third and 7 plus. Always try to gain a few yards each play to where the third down is manageable.
Yeah.
Because you get this crowd involved. I don't care. It's not a whiteout. Penn State. This ain't Ohio State at noon.
Yeah.
This is Penn State at noon.
Yeah.
They're going to be there.
Best atmosphere in college football. Bar none.
Right. They're going to be rowdy, unlike maybe a Buckeye crowd at noon.
Oregon, all their fans are getting very sensitive when I tell them that Happy Valley is the best game day environment, is the toughest place to play in college football. They're like, oh, well, Autzon's so loud. We have the highest decibel of a game. And I'm like, it still doesn't hold a candle to Happy Valley, I promise you. I'm like, I'm sure it's loud there. I'm sure it's very loud there.
I've been to Autzen. I'll tell you right now, it's close, man. I'll say that, and I'm not trying to be diplomatic in any way, shape, or form.
I trust you.
I doubted that when I went there, and then when I saw literally how that atmosphere is, like those people were nuts. They're certifiable. Some of them.
I'm no doubt.
And they got half the stadium size as we do.
Yeah, and you do.
It's one of those things that you say that, and I felt the same way. But when you actually experience it, you're like, I can only imagine how it reminds me of how Beaver Stadium was before they did all the upgrades. It had that same feel where it was like you had 70,000 people at Beaver Stadium, and the intensity was just off the chart. So I think I look at Autzen as like mini Beaver Stadium.
Yeah, I've told Oregon fans, I'm like, you're automatically at least minimum top 3 in the Big Ten when it comes to your stadium and atmosphere. It's still not Happy Valley.
Camp Autzen, Beaver Stadium are my top 3 in the league.
I would agree with that. Obviously Wolverine fans will say, "Oh, the Big House." I've been to the Big House. It's crap. It's terrible.
Yeah,
it's not great.
Yeah,
and Ohio State, because we let too many old people in. It's not great.
I think Ohio State's problem is like how the Atlanta Braves were when they were winning all those division titles with Bobby Cox in the 90s. I think people are just bored. Plus, you guys were talking about how people were bailing on the Buckeyes even before that game was over against Nebraska. Sure. I just think it's like everyone's fat and happy, and when they're not going to be when it's something gets challenged, they just bail. I think Ohio State needs. They need a few down years to kind of appreciate what they.
I can't handle enough down years. I can't do it. No, it's just the fact we let too many old people in. That's really what it is. I've literally had multiple times at games where old people have told me to sit down or I'm being too loud, and I'm like, then stay home. I tell them that every time. I'm like, stay home. If you want to knit while you're at the game, you can do that on the comforts of your own couch. Don't waste the money. Like, give it to somebody who will be on their feet and be loud. That's what you're here for. Like, shut up.
That's what all these coaches want.
Yeah.
They want everyone to be
and then I see Happy Valley, and there's a ton of 20, 30-year-olds there.
Oh, dude, they're intoxicated.
Yeah.
Like, just losing their minds. I'll tell you this.
You're fun drunk. We're boring drunk.
Before the Illinois game, I swear it was Mardi Gras cutting through the lots because I literally was flashed 4 different times.
God, I gotta get to Happy Valley. Gotta get to Happy Valley.
There's a reason they call it Happy
I gotta get.
Valley.
I've always said, I don't mind the noon games against Penn State because do I want to play on a whiteout against Happy Valley? Fuck no. I know what that entails. I know what that's done to us before. But I need it to happen one more time, at least, so I can go. And then it can never happen again, for all I care. But I need it to happen one more time. But Fox won't let it happen. Fox won't let it happen.
Fox is
I love the new.
I do too. I don't like getting up early if I don't have to,
thing.
but I will.
hate
The Wisconsin game, like, trust me, my Sunday was completely shot because, like, I'm in Madison, Wisconsin. I didn't leave Camp Randall till like 2 a.m. because I had to file my story.
Did you
and
jump
all that.
around?
That is the coolest thing you'll ever see. I will tell you what, it lives up to the hype. The press box legitimately
That's
shook.
awesome. That's so awesome. I got to get up there too. I got places to go.
I'll tell you this. You want to get up there, you want to tailgate, and you want to venture around Madison a little bit because holy hell. Like, everyone who tells you that Madison's the best college town, they're not bullshitting you. Like, literally, people are off the chains. Like, it's legit.
Wisconsin folk, they know how to do it. They know how to do it, man.
They do. So, again, I love the noon kicks because then it's like, hey, I can get up there early in the morning, file my story at like 5 o'clock, and I'll be home for the 8 o'clock primetime game.
Go. Yeah, I saw your pictures and I was like, God, that must be so cool. I got to get up there. I've only been to 3 stadiums. I've only been to the Shoe. I've been to the Big Outhouse, as I call it, and I've been to South Bend. South Bend, beautiful campus, beautiful stadium.
Absolutely.
I love how they do everything there. Like, it's awesome. It's a great experience. Obviously,
it's Rudy. You don't have the Rudy music on when you're at Notre Dame. Something.
Yeah, obviously, you know, I'm biased, but I love Columbus. I think our game day atmosphere sucks, but the Shoe is a coliseum. It's beautiful.
What's that called? The Grove?
Yeah, the Buckeye Grove. Right, yeah.
That is absolutely gorgeous. Every time I'm in Columbus, I always go and get a picture there because I don't have enough pictures, but it's absolutely.
We have some cool stuff there, and then obviously Ann Arbor. That's just a shithole. That whole took me 3 hours to get out of that city after the game. It was obnoxious.
So let me ask this question because I know you guys probably have a bunch of other things to go. So my favorite dive when I go to Columbus is PJ's Grill. And it's like anything you can imagine between 2 pieces of bread. Have you guys ever gone there? And if so, what do you...
My usual go-to is Urban's Pint House.
Wait, what?
Those two live in Columbus. They could go anytime. I live a couple hours away.
Dude, you gotta go. You haven't been to PJ's Grill?
I guess we gotta go.
So they have very like vulgar name sandwiches. Like, hey, they're known as the fat sandwiches. So it's like the fat bitch, the fat bastard, and it's like anything you could imagine between 2 pieces of bread.
Okay.
Here,
where's it at? Is it downtown? Because my go-to spot is Urban's Pine House. I always go there.
Oh yeah. That's the bougie. It's on Frambus Avenue.
Frambus Avenue.
You guys know.
God, I don't know where that's at.
I don't either.
You guys should know. You live there.
So
I avoid downtown religiously unless I have to.
That's fair. That unless you're going to the Columbus Blue Jackets game.
Exactly.
This is my go-to. It's called the Fat Bitch Special.
Fat Bitch Special.
It's buffalo. This is on a sandwich. Buffalo chicken tenders, beer, French fries, mac and cheese wedges, mozzarella sticks, and ranch.
Sounds amazing.
It's $16.
That made my stomach hurt.
The fatty sandwich is grilled ham, cheesesteak, salami, bacon strips, mozzarella sticks, mac and cheese wedges, fried ravioli, and a tons of extra high sauce. I don't know what the high sauce is, but I might be interested in trying that.
It's called what now? PJ's
Grill. You also have the Fat Slut.
Fat
which
Slut.
Is chicken tenders, mac and cheese.
Wow.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you guys, the fact that you haven't gone is almost disappointing. But that
I have an excuse. Those two don't.
Yeah, that's
I live 2 hours. You know where I live, Kyle. I'm a hop, skip, and a jump from the Hall of Fame. So
I gotta come visit you out there. But if I somehow make it to the Indiana game to cover it, I'd like to meet up with the fellas if you're going.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll go to the game. I might maybe last minute go, but yeah, I'll drive down to Columbus to meet up with you. I have no qualms about that. Maybe we'll go get a fat slut or a fat bitch.
Yeah, why not? Quite legit.
Travis, real quick,
Yes.
keys to the game, sir.
I think my keys to the game for Ohio State is probably pretty simple. Even if the run game's not working, try to establish the run game as best you can with the offensive line. I know the offensive line is not going to probably be what you expect it to be. I'm curious to see how they move it around because
Sen Mikowski is officially not playing.
He is officially not playing. I did not see that, so that is
So we don't know who the left tackle.
I would imagine that would mean is Donovan Jackson?
Donovan Jackson's going to have to be left tackle.
He's going to have to be left tackle, and then they'll move. We'll probably
Austin Severfield, maybe Luke Montgomery. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna look. Maybe Hinsman, like I said.
That would be my guess. I would do Hinsman, but either way, you're gonna have to try because it really felt like in the Nebraska game they stopped trying. You cannot do that in this game. I feel like you have to, even if it's not resulting in drives at certain points. You got to keep trying that run game as much as possible because you have two huge beasts back in that backfield that you have to try to get either going as much as possible or at least keep the defense honest as best you can because otherwise it's not going to be pretty. Defensively, I would do what you did in the last time these two teams played. Try to make Penn State as one-dimensional as you can. Try to shut down that run game because we've had no problem really with shutting down runs against most of these teams. We've done pretty decent at shutting down runs. If you can shut down the run, make Drew Aller or whoever's starting at quarterback beat you through the air.
Sounds like from Kyle it's going to be Drew Aller. But of course, James Franklin is doing the smart thing, and he's going to make it a game time decision, even though the decision's already been made. It's already been made.
I'll say he was a full participant too, so
I did see the stuff where they said he was practicing, so I wasn't.
Unless something weird happens from now until Saturday, it's him. So.
But at the same time,
and I'd rather it be him.
Yeah, the other thing for the defense is pretty easy. They haven't done it really much all this year, but what I saw in the Nebraska game. They're capable of it. Get some damn pressure. Because even if he does play, I can't imagine he's that 100%. So if you
that hurt him last year.
Yeah, if you can get pressure, maybe just maybe you have a shot. I would try to make him move on that. It was a knee injury, right?
I believe so. Aller has a knee injury, Kyle.
They're not being specific, so it's considered an MCL sprain, and it may not even be a sprain.
Probably just like a tweak.
They're being very vague about it.
I love college football.
Gotta love college football. Yeah. Keep it close to the vest until you don't have to.
So
vagueness galore.
Just to give you a heads up, that's with him. Deny Dennis Sutton is a groin, and Don Coe is like a stinger or something. He should be ready to go.
Apparently, we get Lathan Ransom back, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
And maybe Zen Mikowski not playing will be a good thing too. Who knows? Because he was getting bodied all game long. So
honestly, even if he did play, my key to the game: get the guy some damn help because that's something they didn't do in the Nebraska game. Focus on getting that guy as much help as you can if you can. Because he was not getting any at all, and I don't know really why. But if he had to play, give him some help. But if he's not playing,
failure to adjust.
Honestly, even if he's not playing, I still think you should try to beef up that side with a tight end or something.
Do something.
And here's the thing: the reason I say that is because the big
We have tight ends.
I've been told. I'm not entirely sure about that.
Fair point. We don't have Tyler Warren at all. Not even close.
I've been told we do. Because here's the thing. The other problem with that, and especially in the run game, was you were having to chip with the running backs a lot more in the Nebraska game than you had to previously. That can't happen. We cannot have the running backs continuously just having to play blocker the entire night.
Yeah.
They need to get going in the passing game and in the running game that doesn't involve them trying to block for Will Howard.
Right.
It dovetail off on Hot Wheels. I don't know what his name is.
Hot Wheels Travis Snapper.
Yep.
The one and only. The WrestleFit champion.
If you watch the teams that were like UCLA was able to do it, Illinois, and then definitely USC. If you get the running back on a wheel route or into the
Travion
flat,
Henderson.
that's where Zachy Wheatley makes bad plays, and each of those teams had at least one play where they went 30+ yards just to the running back. So that's a good that needs to happen for Ohio State.
And I was surprised we honestly didn't do that against Nebraska. Because
that's what I was going to say about
Judkins has shown he can do that, and really, honestly, that was Travion's bread and butter last year.
We did it against Oregon, and then we stopped. Why didn't we get him in space more? Like that's what Travion does. We get him in space, and he's supposed to go blah, 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 instead of running him up the gut.
He almost broke the one.
Yeah,
he almost
did. Yeah, I'll echo you boys. You know, really, just this offensive line got to get it some help with whatever we decide to do with it. That's got to be stout enough. Will Howard has to play an Oregon type game. I mean, if he makes one mistake, we might be able to overcome it, but I wouldn't even count on that.
I think one mistake should be fine. And I'm praying to God he doesn't throw an interception or anything, but as we've talked before, the one caveat to Will Howard, the one blessing in disguise is whenever he does make a mistake, usually 9 times out of 10, the next drive he's locked in.
Ryan Day cannot handcuff him in this game.
No, please.
He has to run the ball if he's able to.
I heard Chip Kelly said that we haven't utilized him running the ball because we're afraid of injury.
I don't give a fuck. We got to stop handcuffing our quarterbacks. I obviously exonerated C.J. Stroud after the whole cheating scandal came out about Team Up North, because obviously he was cheated against twice, so that's why he didn't win that game. But I would always get on him about not running, and now I'm realizing I was fully wrong about that too. It's just Ryan Day handcuffing people, just handcuffing everybody. Stop handcuffing people. We got all these quarterbacks behind him. Yeah, they might not be any good. We don't know. But if Will Howard gets hurt, we have other guys. You can't handcuff him in this game. You got to let Will Howard go out there and make plays if he can, because we've seen him do it. So do it. And then, of course, the wide receivers, they got to be a big part of this too. That's going to be the big key for us, is getting them as involved as possible as well.
That was gonna be one of my keys. Is you cannot have a similar game like you did have against Penn State last year. Even though I fully believe he's capable of doing it, you cannot fully rely on Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
You cannot just have a game, which again I fully believe he's very capable of having that game that Marv had, of just constant throwing it to him.
Yeah, getting him open.
And I don't think Will Howard's that kind of guy that's going to do that, but you have to have some production from Egbuka. You have to have production from Tate.
Yep, I agree. And getting Henderson in space. Get him in space on some plays.
Yeah.
Hit him like what Kyle said, where it hurts. Defensively, just build off of what you did last week. Get some tackles for loss. Get some pressure. Do something to get Aller or whoever it is uncomfortable back there. And obviously cover Tyler Warren like he's a king-sized bed. Put the mattress cover on him. Do whatever you got to do, because I don't need this to be another Iowa 2017 game where a tight end's burning us all day. I don't need that. My heart can't handle it. My entire being can't handle it, so I just don't need it to happen. And if we have to kick, please God, just get it through the uprights. Don't suck. For God's sake, please don't suck. Because that's one thing I forgot to bring up during the Nebraska segment. The fact that their kicker came in 1 for 5 on the year, and of course he goes 3 for 3 that day. Like, of course, every time somebody plays Ohio State, they play their absolute best. They don't suck anymore when they play us, right? So, great. That's just great. Oregon sucks against Idaho, but does perfect against us. So it is what it is. That's just the name of the beast. All right, score prediction time. I said this last night on Smacking Off. I am not confident in this game at all, especially after the Oregon loss and what I saw last week. We didn't respond well. I will say I think we're going to win just because of the James Franklin thing. and I think we can do enough to win this game, but it will not shock me remotely if we lose. I said 28-24 Ohio State in this one. Ryan.
Yeah, I was on the verge of coming in here and picking an L. I talked to you about it before the show started.
I was too. I thought about changing mine too.
I have no confidence in this game as well. The only glimmer of hope I have is Drew Aller is probably not 100%. And I think if he's 100%, we lose. But I think that we can get enough pressure to cause him to be uncomfortable back there. And I think the Buckeyes squeak one out 21-16.
16? That's weird. That's awkward.
Well, Penn State gets a touchdown late. They try to go for 2 to make it a one-possession game. Or 3 so they can kick field goal.
Put money on that, and if you win it, I'll laugh.
My guy even has a situation for it. Way to go.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, that's just how these games have played out with Penn State.
True.
You aren't wrong. You aren't wrong. Travis.
I'm gonna go. I actually do have some pretty good confidence in this game. That being said, I'm gonna go 31-24.
Okay, I was gonna say if you made it a multi-score game, I was gonna be like Travis.
I was tempted to go 31-21, but I'll hedge my bets.
All right, that's fair. And Kyle Golick.
So I'm going to take the status quo that all the nitwits have done this week. I'll believe it when I see it, and I haven't seen Penn State beat Ohio State in 7 years. I hope I'm wrong, but I like Ohio State by two possessions. I don't think they're good. I think Aller's going to start. But here's the thing that's been a differentiator for him. He's been mobile at times this year and has extended plays. The issue with him is he may not be able to do those things. And I don't trust Julian Fleming. I mean, it's like, who do you trust with the Penn State receivers? And look, Will Howard, like I mentioned earlier, 4 of the last 5 games completed 80% or more of his passes. Look at the receiving core. And it's nothing. I don't trust Zach Wheatley. I think this game's going to be a close one into the fourth quarter. It's going to be like the 2022 game where I don't think you're going to have JTT blow it up, but I think it's just Penn State's going to have a bad turnover and Ohio State's just going to pummel it. I think it's going to be, I'm going to go 38-22.
Wow. I did not expect you to pick Ohio State this time around. I really didn't.
It's just, like I said, if we had...
I get it. Believe it when you see it, though. I know you've been that way as long as I've known you.
I'm tired.
It's how we are right now with the certain game in November.
Yeah.
It's like this, like I mentioned it, that I totally pissed off every Penn State fan out there. I said there's been 3 certainties of life the last decade with it for a Penn State fan: death, taxes, and losing to Ohio State. So,
but like we said, even if you lose this game, just focus up, win out, and you make the playoff.
That's kind of where I'm looking at it. I'm looking forward to a home playoff game in
yes.
Stadium.
Oh my god!
I think they're gonna be 11-1. I predicted them to be 11-1 at the beginning of the season.
I think I did too.
I just, like I said, if Penn State was fully healthy, if Winston was healthy, if Denai Dennis Sutton was healthy, if Aller was 100%, I would have more confidence in Penn State to break the streak. It's just you got too many great athletes. You really got to go mano-a-mano with the edge rushers. And like I said, quarterback play is always – Penn State has never had a distinct quarterback advantage. Quite frankly, against Ohio State, you have to go back to like the Steve Balisari days.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. God.
Yeah, hey, if I'm picking up that name, it's been
you guys you guys didn't get to dodge Braxton Miller and have to play Joe Bauserman, or else that would have been the worst. If you guys got to play Joe Bauserman, that would have been pretty bad for us. Yeah, you beat us that year, but
he was the young guy, and let's be honest, Luke Fickell wasn't ready for that
situation. He wasn't. If we got the Luke Fickell now, 2011's a lot different because we lost every game but one by single digits that year. So, and we beat Wisconsin somehow. I was at that game. I still don't know how we pulled that off.
That was insane.
Yeah, but I was like, God, if you just played Braxton Miller from the start, maybe, just maybe, were like 8-4 at worst. But whatever, he pulled the trestle move and played the more, veteran quarterback that sucked, like Justin Zwick or Belisari, just sucked. So, whatever. All right, well, all of us picked Ohio State. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Ohio State's season gets completely and utterly ruined, or if Penn State just loses another game to Ohio State but ends up going to playoff, because I don't see them losing another game after that unless, like we said, Minnesota trips them up. So best of luck to both teams. May the best team win, and we'll see what happens. But thank you, Kyle Golick, for coming on. It was a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show.
First off, enjoyed coming on tonight. Hopefully you have me on again, and if I do make the Indiana game, I'll let you know. And let's
we'll probably around playoff time, we'll probably talk about some of the playoff games. So obviously if Penn State, win or lose, they're probably making it.
I'll be more
anyway.
than happy to come on for you guys. You just let how to reach me. I'll be more than happy to come
Absolutely,
on.
sir. Thank you for coming on. And we are going to go to break. When we come back, we will talk about what we learned in college football last week. We'll have the Ryan Rundown and all that and more on the Buckeye Bro Show on the College Football Dogs Media Network.
This is the Buckeye Bro Show on the College Football
See you
Dogs
guys.
Media
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, see you, man.
Hey there, darling, let me count on you. The road is long and I'm scared what I might find. Won't you tuck me in and out? Tell me everything's gonna be alright, sweet child. Sweet child. Up in the morning, out that door. Who knows what the world has in store for me? I'll be safe with you by my side. Ain't nothing out there can't take in stride. I know you hold me up. You hold me up. So I can fly. When that cold creeps on in and I start to wonder what could have been, I'm just gonna close my eyes so tight, take your hand and keep me to the morning light, to the morning light. And ain't it bright? You hold me up. You hold me up. You hold me up. So I can fly.
Sound the alarms! Something monstrously merry is coming to town. Introducing Bones Coffee's newest batch. Inspired by the giddy ghouls of Disney Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Nice work, Bones Caddy. Rich premium coffee infused with frighteningly festive flavors. The Pumpkin King, Santa Jack, Frog's Breath, Rough Weather, and Mudslide Boogie. Can't make decisions by yourself? Order them all. Bones also makes a perfectly marvelous gift for everyone on your nice list.
And your naughty list.
Click the link to get these hauntingly holly jolly flavors delivered right to your door. And it's not just for holidays. Bones has coffee concoctions for all 365 days of the year. Bones Coffee and Disney Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's terrifyingly tasty. This year, Bones Coffee will be yours!
And we're back on the Buckeye Bro Show. Ryan, are you ready for a quick Ryan rundown?
Let's do it.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It is time for the Ryan Rundown.
All right, here's what.
All right, we'll make this quick since we went long. College football quick scores around college football last week. Notre Dame defeated Navy 51-14. They're getting stronger and stronger by the week. Indiana continues their perfect season and not trailing at all in a single game when they took down Washington 31-17.
Unreal.
Alabama gets a statement victory here after the letdown in Tennessee defeat Missouri 34-0. Oregon continues their winning ways, taking down Illinois 38-9. Texas escapes Vandy. I forgot to write the score down, so I don't know the score, but
27-24.
27-24. Yeah, 27-24.
They tried.
They did. And then Texas A&M defeats LSU 38-23. That was some of the top scores. NFL-wise, holy shit, my team got a win. The Patriots defeated the New York Packers 25-22. The Browns defeated the Ravens 29-24 in Jameis's first start. First time they scored 20 points all year. So maybe Watson was the problem.
He was.
Maybe.
Jameis Winston
The Green
looked a
Bay
lot better.
Packers. Yeah. The Green Bay Packers defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars 30-27.
God bless Brandon McManus.
Right. The Philadelphia Eagles handled the Bengals 37-17. Love to see that. And then Travis's Steelers got a win on Monday Night Football against the New York Football Giants 26-18.
Still want Russell
They
bench?
continue-
Yes.
I feel you.
And you still want Tomlin gone?
Maybe that part may no. I've maybe. Here's the thing. I'll try to be quick about this. Red zone. We suck. We suck in the red zone. How?
At least you got a kicker.
There is one play that Russell Wilson did that pisses me royally off, and it's that first drive they had where they had to kick the field goal. He had wide open lane to the corner of the end zone and tried to throw it in the middle of the end zone.
If only you had a
What the
mobile
hell?
quarterback that could.
I know, right? It's amazing.
He wasn't
Where do you get
available, I
those?
guess, for that game though. So
He
I
wasn't
guess-
available this
I guess not. But if that doesn't get better, then fuck yeah, I want him bench still.
all right, well there you
Man.
have it.
Let's see here. World Series wise, I know the Dodgers lead the series 3-1 over the New York Yankees. That game is game 5 is going on right now. The Yankees lead 5-0 on the top of the fourth. So the Yankees
Boo.
are looking to extend this World Series a little bit longer.
Boo.
Right? NBA wise, the
Wait,
Cleveland
wait.
Cavaliers.
Ooh, you suck.
There you go.
NBA wise, the Cleveland Cavaliers, I had that they were 4-0. They are on the brink of going 5-0. As we just talked about, they are defeating the Lakers. As of right now, I see the score is 122-103.
Oh yeah, that's over.
So the Cavs are looking to go to 5-0. After that one goes final. Alex and I are Miami Heat. They've started 2-1 on the year. They currently lead the Knicks by 1 in the third quarter, so hoping to go to 3-1. They did unveil a terrible Dwayne Wade statue a couple days ago, so God, that was bad. But
Awful. A total disrespect to the greatest player in Miami Heat history. Terrible.
great, terrible. And shocking news: the Columbus Blue Jackets are a functioning hockey team this season so far. They went 1-0-1 last week. They are 4-3-1 overall. They're 5th in the Metro, but they haven't played as many games as some of the teams that are ranked ahead of them, and they currently lead the Islanders 1-0 right now. So the Jackets looking to continue.
My plan
They're-
worked. My plan
Right.
worked. I
Don't
disparaged
jinx
them.
it.
I called them
I even did
first.
this for you. Right. I did this for you, Alex. I put the Anaheim Ducks on here. They are 4-4-1 overall. They currently sit 6th in the
We
Pacific.
don't
So both of
totally
our
suck.
Both of our teams seem to be overachieving so far.
Definitely.
I'll take it.
I'll take it too.
A team that's not overachieving now is, I guess I'll have to eat my words here. We called us a soccer town. The Crew took a loss last night to the New York Red Bulls in the first game of the playoffs in a best-of-3 series, so now the Crew have to win the next 2, or the defending champs could be out early in this playoff run. Next game is on Sunday, so the Crew have a chance on Sunday, but it is at New York, so we'll see how that plays out. And then I made a quick note here. OSU basketball returns on Monday, guys.
Really?
They play Texas.
Wow.
Play
10 o'clock
You said
Monday
play
night. So
Texas?
Yes. Ohio State tips off next Monday against Texas at 10 o'clock at night. So, it's almost time. We'll have both to break our heart.
Man, how did you
That's
get?
all I got.
How'd you get live noise of the stadium? That's
That's
impressive.
nuts, right?
Right? I'm going to have to change my background picture because it's not that electric there.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it's very.
that's a mirage
very-
at this point. That's a
Very disappointing.
make your background an old folks' home, and that'll be
I need
right
to.
spot on.
But that's it for this week.
All right,
Go
perfect.
through it.
What did we learn in college football this week? Here we go.
Don't you just love this game?
Touchdown!
Quarterback has the ball, fades back. There's the throw. He goes long, and the catch, and he's in there. Touchdown!
It's all over!
My God, I shall cherish this forever. I say, Opie, I'll trade you this baseball for your souvenir bat.
Sure.
What did you learn?
All right, what did we learn in college football this week? The boys and I put our heads together, and here's the list. Number 1, the McCord-Syracuse experiment is officially dead. Boy. Here is a live listen to all the fans of opposing teams that said, "Oh, Ohio State's stupid for letting Kyle McCord go. Oh, they're going to regret that. Oh, blah, blah, blah." Not very talkative after that. 5
We're still getting that bottle of champagne.
maybe. Fran Brown's probably like, "Oh crap, that's what they meant." 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
3 pick sixes.
one of them
was crazy.
was crazy. The one where he like caught it right off the ground, almost.
Right.
Like that was crazy. Okay, it got tipped. It was a bad throw, but the fact that got picked was like, damn. That's just adding salt to the wound. And that,
But he still had 4 and 3 pick
yeah,
sixes.
and that was before he threw like 2 more pick sixes. Yeah, boy, he couldn't read the field for shit. Pitt's defense, I don't know who their defense coordinator is. Throw him a blank check. Get their kicker too. Throw him a blank check. Get him to Ohio State, because whatever they did, they had boy in a blender all night. I don't know if I've seen that bad of a game from a college quarterback ever in my life. And of course it had to happen to Kyle McCord. I'm like, that is exactly why the Oregon game wouldn't have been close if he was still the quarterback. Period. He would have did that same thing. The Kyle McCord finally reared his ugly known head. And I was watching it, and it was pure comedy. It really was. Pitt won that game, of course. So, yeah, the Kyle McCord experience is dead. And they are now at 2 losses on the year, so they are they're on the fringe. They're probably not making the playoff now. Notre Dame's loss to NIU was a fluke and becomes more irrelevant by the week as long as they keep winning. Boy, did they beat the brakes off of Navy, who was undefeated.
Yeah,
now, granted, it's Navy, but they were undefeated. So it's like
Really
Notre
good.
Dame is looking better and better and better every week. And, I mean, yeah, they got to play Army yet, who's undefeated, but another academy team that maybe they can blow the doors off of. And they're going to play a USC team who we thought they'd lose to, but at this point, USC looks like shit. So I don't see them losing that game. I think they're going to be 11-1, and they're going to make the college football playoff. Now, that loss is going to get them a lower seed than what they would have had otherwise, probably. Unless enough teams lose to where it could propel them up to like a top, 5 to 8 seed, because they can't be 1 to 4. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. They beat a Texas A&M team who we're gonna mention
really good
here in a bit. But then, of course, that NIU loss was just I look back at that now and I'm like, man, they must have been really sleepwalking because this is how good this Notre Dame team can be. So
I mean, that was also coming off that Texas A&M win too. I think.
It might have been a game or two after. I don't know.
It might have been a week.
Yeah,
after.
I don't know. I don't think it was the next game. But number 3, Oregon is the clear natty front runner. Unfortunately, they just look great. I'm sure they're going to beat the brakes off the team up north this weekend. At least that's what I'm hoping for. I'm going to say it this week. Go Ducks. Quack, quack, baby. Because I don't care how much I want Oregon to lose just for laughs. I don't want them to lose this week. So you ain't going to see me rooting for the team up north ever in my life. They're the clear natty front runner. They just look really good. We'll see if they have the chops to do it when the time comes. But for now, they're definitely the front runner. And as I alluded to...
Northern Illinois game was directly after Texas.
It was? It was the next week? Wow. Yep. Okay, well. They pulled a Marshall then. They after the week after Ohio State lost, they went and lost to Marshall. So, yeah.
Yep, they played Texas A&M August 31st, and they played Northern Illinois September 7th.
Oh, yeah. It was a little bit of a longer week, I think, for them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's one thing Marcus Freeman just needs to learn how to do is keep his team focused after, a big game, win or lose. So, number 4, Texas A&M might actually be back. Like, Mike Elko doing everything that Jimbo Fisher could not do with that program in year 1, mind-blowing to me. They lost their best receiver to Oregon. They have, like, next to nothing that, all that big historic recruiting class that they got a few years ago, basically all gone. They transferred everywhere. I was like, there's no way this guy who did really good with Duke last year, which Duke looks better without Mike Elko, which is weird. Except for, losing SMU like they did.
Yep.
But the fact that he had like a bare cupboard coming into Texas A&M, and he has them in one of the top 2 spots in the SEC right now. I think they're the only undefeated in-conference team right now, if I'm not mistaken. So that's just bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. And number 5, there is no conference title game that is clear-cut right now like there has been in the past. Like, usually by now, you can probably tell who's going to be in a conference title game. Right now, it seems like everything's wide open everywhere. So, except kind of the Big 12, I think that one's, like, kind of set right now in a way. But even that could change.
It kind of is, but
that could change.
At the same time, it could be Kansas State, it could be Iowa State, it could be...
BYU. Colorado, maybe?
They need a little help, but
yeah, they need a little help. But yeah, everything's wide open right now. So,
but the way the Big 12 plays out, it's not far fetched.
Yeah, the Big 12 did not go anywhere near what the Buckeye Bro said it would.
And like the ACC,
a Utah team's gonna make it, maybe, just not the one we thought. So, BYU's doing everything we thought Utah would.
Yeah, ACC. I mean, you probably imagine it's probably going to be Miami, but I mean, it could be Clemson. It could be, I think Pitt's still in the running.
Yeah, Pitt
for that. Who else?
Pitt's no joke.
Oh, SMU.
Yeah, SMU, who is one of the teams I had making the playoff. I told you all about SMU. So we'll see.
Virginia Tech.
We'll see. Yeah, Virginia Tech. Yeah. I saw something that somebody did. They were like, "Oh, here's what the rankings would look like if every one possession game that there's been had the opposite outcome." And Virginia Tech was like 8-0 if that happens. So yeah, they lost some one possession games early on, and they really fucked themselves over right from the rip because that should be an undefeated team right now. But you know how that goes. All right, here's the college football dead or alive list this week. We didn't have any movement from the top spot here, the alive and well.
They all took.
Yep, they all took care of business, or they didn't play this week. I think a couple of them didn't play, like Iowa State. On shaky ground, there are some teams that dropped off from there, though. But here is who is a one-loss team in the Power 4 conferences / independent / Pac-2, who are still in prime position to make the college football playoff at the end of the year. And here is the other two tiers. Obviously, Syracuse, Illinois, Mizzou, LSU, and Duke all went from on shaky ground to on life support. They are now 2 lost teams, fighting for their lives to even have a shot at making the college football playoff, an outside shot. Obviously, they need help from the teams above to lose and pray that they can lobby themselves to get in. And then we added only, it should only have been 5 more dead teams, but I fucked up last week. I forgot to drop Rutgers down to dead last week because I just completely forgot that they were already a 3-loss team going into their game last week. But then they, of course, lost again to USC this week. So Rutgers completely, everything that we thought that they could be, boy, they have just choked unbelievably bad. Obviously, Nebraska joins them. Texas Tech, heartbreaking loss to TCU in like the last minutes of that game. That was a good one. Vandy, they fought hard to try to beat Texas, who they actually have a humongous winning record against. Vandy does against Texas. But unfortunately, the magic ran out. They ran out of time. Wisconsin, of course, loses to Penn State. And Cincy lost to Colorado. So those are your new dead teams for this week.
Who's on Vandy's schedule left? It would be such funny shit if like they upset somebody in like the final couple weeks.
I was hoping they did it to Texas. I was like, God.
I was hoping it too.
I was like, you know what? I'm rooting for the Commodores from here on out. They got Auburn, South Carolina, bye week, LSU, and Tennessee. They got some heavy hitters left. They got a brutal schedule.
I think they could get one of those. I think
they might.
LSU or Tennessee, I think they get one.
Tennessee's a rivalry game. They fucking might. They should beat Auburn. South Carolina would be a tough one. But they could get one of those last 2. They fought Texas so hard, man. This team could end up making a bowl game, which would be nuts for Vanderbilt. Like, they haven't done that since James Franklin, I believe. So,
well, all they got to do is beat Auburn, right?
I think so.
Because they have 5 wins.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah,
5-3.
Because they beat Bama. Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Nuts. Yeah, they need one more.
They almost beat Missouri. They lost to them in double overtime.
Yeah, they're a gritty team. That Clark Lee, he's done a great job there.
I think it had them having like 2 wins.
Could you imagine if they had actually like won that game, won the game against Texas, and not lost to Georgia State? They would be.
You know what's funny?
We could have seen Vandy.
Clark Lee pulled a Kirk Signetti, and in one of his press conferences, he's like, "My goal is to take Vanderbilt and win them a national championship," and everybody laughed. I don't think he ever will, but the fact that he's turning this program around, just like James Franklin did, that's a blessing in disguise for that program. So he's doing a great job.
If he takes them to an SEC championship game, that's just good enough.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it probably won't happen this year, but in the future, maybe. Who knows? It just depends on if they can get the talent down there and continue to do what they're doing. So, all right, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we will talk about Jack Tuttle retiring, Colorado being bowl eligible, and have Hot Wheels hot takes, rapid fire picks, all that good stuff on the Buckeye Bro Show on the College Football Dogs Media Network.
This is the Buckeye Bro Show on the College Football Dogs Media Network.
Yum, yum, get you some. Yum, yum, get you some. Yum, yum, get you some. Yum, yum, get you some.
Dano Seasoning, food's favorite flavor.
Yum, yum, get you some.
I'm Joe Burrito, your favorite burrito. Whoa, whoa.
Joe, we all know you're the best.
What?
You can always do better.
What you got?
Try the new Dano's Hot Chipotle.
Hey. Ooh, that's spicy. Yum, yum.
Yum, yum, get you some.
Icy Breeze is the world's first portable air conditioner and cooler. A premium ice cooler that doubles as an eco-friendly portable air conditioner. This is not a swamp cooler, just blowing air across ice. Over 60 parts and components allow Icy Breeze to achieve what no other product in the world can do. The secret behind the Icy Breeze is an innovative design that circulates chilled ice water through a heat exchanger in the lid, replacing the Freon used in most ACs. Fresh air is drawn from hidden vents in the top of the cooler, pulled across the exchanger, and chilled down to 35 degrees cooler than the outside air. A 3-speed fan control delivers Icy Breeze's dry, cold air up to 25 miles per hour, just like a car AC. And a stay-put flex hose directs the breeze in any direction, wherever you need it. Icy Breeze helps you beat the heat.
On the College Football Dogs website, you'll find a main page that features some of our biggest and newest stories. Our conference pages for content related to your favorite team's conference. Our team store, where we have products that are available all year long, as well as gear available for a limited time only. Our podcast page, where you can see when one of the 12 plus College Football Dogs podcasts is streaming live on social media. Our subscription page, where you can join our Discord. If you're interested in becoming a contributor at College Football Dogs, email us at info@collegefootballdogs.com. If you enjoy any College Football Dogs content, we really do appreciate any donations you can make by visiting the donate page on our website or scanning the QR code here.
College Football Dogs, for the fans.
Okay.
And we are back on the Buckeye Bro Show. Travis, are you ready for Hot Wheels Hot Takes?
I am ready.
Here we go. All right, hit us with it.
So it's not really a hot take as more than it is probably a rant, but I'm gonna say it anyway. And I've probably already
Hot
said
Wheels
this one
Wrath?
before. Yeah, something like that.
There you
I've
go.
probably already said this before, but honestly, I just want to kind of complain about NFL coaches because after what I've seen the last couple of weeks, I feel like I should. This idea that you cannot develop a quarterback in 2-3 years and let them sit on the bench has got to die. For the love of God, let it die. Like what's the movie? It's a Disney movie. What the fuck is the movie? Oh, it's the Lorax. Let it die, let it die, let it shrivel up and die, because it needs to die. You're benching young and make no mistake about it, some of these quarterbacks, maybe a little shaky, but you're letting young quarterbacks sit the bench. I saw a thing on like Twitter or Facebook the other day, and it was like Richardson benched, Bryce Young benched, Mac Jones benched. Like, there's so many of them that you're benching that you're not even.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields benched. And I get it; it's working out in some of these teams' favor.
That's the NFL.
But and I know, and I hear that same bullshit, and I understand it. But at the same time, you are not progressing your future because at some point, those old-ass quarterbacks are going to get old and suck. What are you going to do now? Oh, we're just
look at the teams who actually let their quarterbacks ride the bench for a year or so. Alex knows very well about that.
Yeah,
I don't know, the one that's leading the freaking NFL every single year, and there's won already, 3 Super Bowls?
Yeah,
shocker! Yeah. Like I said, it's got to die. That whole mindset, and I get it, coaches are trying to coach for their jobs, and the fan bases, I blame a lot of it on the fans because they want success now. That mindset has got to die, or you're.
I didn't want to see Drake May on the field at all this year, but then the fan base forced the hand.
No, exactly. Like I would, and I know fans are going to be so mad.
And now he's in concussion protocol.
Yeah, right. Fans are so mad when you say this, but like I will take a couple of down years to see a quarterback develop and be the next Patrick Mahomes or be the next Josh Allen. I'm okay with that. If it ends up being that. Guess what? 9 times out of 10, it don't end up like that. So, I say let it die. There you go. There's my 2-minute rant.
I should have made it Hot Wheels Wrath. I should have just played that.
Should have put the time clock up.
Yeah. By the way, Ryan, our Heat got outscored 35-22 in the third quarter. We are now down 4.
Yep.
Yeah, we're
they can't show up in the third quarter ever.
Choking it away. Same shit, different year.
Up 13 to down.
Boom. All right. So, last topics of the night. First of all, Jack Tuttle retiring from the team up north, citing past health issues and his concussion or whatever as the reasons for doing it. I wish
maybe he could talk to Tua.
Yeah, I wish the kid well. Obviously, he's making the right choice, especially if he's concerned about concussions. And he's been in college football for 7 years. At this point, if you're too injured and you realize you're not going to get drafted, you probably should just start your life, outside of football. I do find it very, very ironic that after he got a shot and they sucked, that he's making this choice. I did make the joke that the team up north is so bad that it forced him to retire. But we do wish the kid well. Guys, any thoughts?
Yep.
God, you were sneezing all the time today. Are you allergic to the bullshit?
I think so.
No, you must be. Wow.
Sounds like it is.
Now he's got pre-Georgia fever or flu. Yeah.
I'm telling you. I'm just getting ready. Every time I get back, I get sick.
Yeah.
I'm just getting ready.
He's got pre-COVID from Georgia.
Yeah. I always get COVID when I come back.
See, I've only had it once, and that's when I came back from Las Vegas. So what happened in Vegas did not stay in Vegas. It followed me home.
Well, that's not good.
I had it 5 times. It's
listen, I don't wish that on anybody. That's rough stuff. But yeah, we wish Jack Tuttle the best in retirement. I would want to avoid playing Ohio State too, even from the bench this year. So he won't have to deal with losing to Ohio State as a Wolverine.
No,
so good for him. And then finally, we've talked about this guy a few times ad nauseum on the show. Coach Prime. We completely have doubted this team after what we saw last year, where they go 4-8. They really sucked. We saw patchwork stuff going on with all the transfers coming in and how he doesn't recruit for shit. Coach Prime is 6-2, and the Colorado.
Do you believe that?
The Colorado Buffalo are bowl bound, and it was pretty cool. They called that old fan of theirs, that Peggy. They gave her a ring. She's sick right now, I guess, but they called her to say, Peggy, congratulations, you're going to a bowl game this year. So I hope Peggy, because she has COVID and she's like 98, so not exactly a great thing to have when you're that old. But hoping she recovers so she can see her Colorado Buffalo in whatever bowl game they end up in. I can't really forecast how they're gonna finish the year. Being 6-2 when I had them at 3-9, obviously I didn't have any faith in them. They have a bye week this week, then they go to Texas Tech. They play Utah at home. They go to Kansas, and then they play Oklahoma State at home to end the year. Utah is a shell of their former selves. Oklahoma State isn't that great this year. Kansas sucks when we thought that they would be good. Texas Tech is the only good team, technically, of that rest of them, and they're a 3-loss team now. So, all very winnable. 10-2 Colorado team, I think they would get in a college football playoff just because Prime's their coach, honestly.
Yep.
If they have room for a 2-loss team, they'd put them in. Just kidding.
I think they'll go like 2-2 in those final 4.
They might. And honestly, that would be great for them. Going 8-4 in your second year. All of us, yeah. I mean, Joel Klatt's loving it. Obviously, he's a Colorado alum. He's soaking it up. There was one point we were looking at him like, God, why you got to keep gargling their balls? They're not that good. And now they're 6-2. So they're a pretty good football team. They're figuring it out. I don't know if Coach Prime can continue it on after his son leaves and Travis Hunter leaves. I doubt it. But we'll see. We're gonna really see what kind of coach he can be at this level in the coming years. But gotta give it to him. Got him bowl eligible in year 2. Thought they would last year, but very very good for Coach Prime. Any thoughts, boys? Want to give Coach Prime a round of applause?
Do you believe now?
Yeah, do you believe now?
I do believe now.
I guess I do. I guess I do. And if they go 10-2, I'll believe it even more. I'll be like, wow, all right, good for them. They'll go to a great bowl game at that point. So, well, I won't say that. They'd have to make the playoff to make any of the New Year's Six bowls now because they're all a part of the New Year's Six. They're all part of the playoff.
I almost said the same thing, and then I was like, yeah.
So it'll be like the next best thing if they don't make the playoff. But like I said, if there's room for 2-loss teams, they'll get in just because it'll make them money. Probably. So they'll find a way to throw them in, I'm sure. All right. Rapid fire picks. Here we go. Give me 1 second, boys. Talk amongst yourself. Talk amongst yourself. Talk amongst yourselves, boys.
Pretty sure mine did too.
They were terrible.
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. We get it.
He had a lead last year for the
Sorry,
longest
I just had to go. I had to go get another drink. I'm sorry, boys. That's what I was getting.
You get thirsty from all of us talking?
Yeah, there you go. That's what I did. Here's this week's standings. Heavy is the shoulder that wears the belt, as they say. Rough week for a couple of your Buckeye Bros. When I was going through the games, I usually do them 2 at a time, so it goes faster. And it was 1-1 for Travis and Ryan. 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1 down the line. And at one point, like for Ryan, it was actually like 0-2, 0-2, 0-2, and I kept adding it up, and I'm like, and then it became 1-1, and you evened yourself out at the end there. But a couple of my gambles paid off, especially that Commanders one. Thank God for Jaden Daniels. I didn't think he was going to play. Thank God for Noah Brown for being in a good spot.
I was going to say, thank God for that defensive player who didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah, the Bears being the Bears. Yes. The Bears being the Bears, you know. That was I got into Maryland for work on Sunday night, and I saw what happened to them, and I just laughed. And of course it was a Buckeye that caught the Hail Mary too, so I was even happier about that. You know, on that drive alone, pass to Terry McLaurin Buckeye, pass to Noah Brown for a touchdown Buckeye. Couldn't have drawn up any better than that, honestly. And of course Caleb Williams, the guy who got picked ahead of Jaden Daniels, got to be sad as fuck and say afterwards, I guess he said, I did my job. Well, you kind of didn't. So you didn't win the game. But because of that, I have now taken the lead once again. 77-46 for me. Ryan in a close second place, 76-47, and Travis in third, 73-50. Still tight race.
Hey, you had the lead for a little while last year, and then I came in December.
I know. Right at the end, you took it from my fucking grasp, like you always do. I'm waiting for it. The late season blow up for Ryan is probably inevitable, so that's why I gotta get a big lead now, so I can't possibly fuck it up in the end, right? I can't possibly. First game tomorrow night, and I think if I heard correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, boys, the home team is the favorite in this game tomorrow night, which I do not know how. Anybody?
I'm not sure.
I'm looking right now.
Look that up for me real quick, because I heard it and I was like, "There's no way."
Yeah, that's.
They are.
Yep. -2.
-2.
No. What does Vegas know? Listen, you.
Well, for one thing, Stephon Diggs is out.
Fair.
Nico Collins is out.
Fair.
I mean, all they have is Tank Dell.
Listen.
So.
You boys know I love Aaron Rodgers. I would die for that. I would take a bullet for that man. I love that man so much. And last week wasn't his fault. He actually didn't play bad last week. But there's been a lot of games where he hasn't looked like his old self this year, and I can admit that. He has sucked in a lot of games this year so far. And that team as a whole blew that game last week against the Patriots. I still don't know how they fucked that up. But that was a win right in their midst, and now they're 2-6. So they got to be perfect from here on out, basically, if they want to even sniff the playoffs.
Division's gone.
Yeah, division's gone. Buffalo is running away with that thing like nobody's business. And I didn't know what to think of Buffalo coming into the year. I didn't know if they would be able to still be good, and they are.
Who would have thought 8 games into the season the Jets would be in last place in the division?
I did not.
It's not gonna last.
I did not. Yeah, I did not see that coming at all. Like I said, Aaron has not looked good. There's been a game or two where he's looked solid, but then there's been 4 other games where he's looked like 4 or 6 other games where he's looked like shit. So, and you got his boy Devontae in there, and they still can't get it done. So I don't know what to really think here. I don't know why they're the favorite. I got the Texans over the Jets. I'll believe it when I see it if the Jets are actually supposed to be favored in this game. Ryan.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm taking the Texans.
Yeah, I would love for Aaron Rodgers to have a game and do well. I just don't see it being this game. Texans are too good. Travis.
I'm also taking the Texans.
Yep, straight down the line. I figured that would be a straight down line for your Buckeye Bros. Now, last week we all picked the same on the Thursday night game, and then the Rams happened to the Vikings. So,
right.
Yeah, we'll see if that's.
If I knew they got all their receivers back, I might have changed my pick. I didn't know they got them all back.
Who?
But the Rams.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know Cup.
Yeah. I knew Cup was playing. I didn't know Puka Nacua was playing though.
I didn't know Puka was playing.
I might have changed that pick too. But the Vikings are still good. But I might have thought that way as well. All right, straight down the line for your Buckeye Bros on the Texans. Cowboys Falcons. Ryan.
Cowboys Falcons. The Falcons I can never get right. If I pick them, they would lose. If I go against them, I'll go Dallas.
They're a head scratcher. Cowboys over the Falcons for Ryan. Mr. Napper.
I'm going to take the Falcons.
Falcons over the Cowboys. Me and Travis, I believe, both were the only ones to pick the Falcons last week, and they came through. I'm going to ride the Falcons again on this one. I think that the Cowboys right now, they're on a struggle bus, and they aren't figuring it out. I think the Falcons at home are good enough to win this game, just because Kyle Pitts, they're actually utilizing him. Kirk Cousins, is serviceable the majority of the time. So we'll see what happens. This one I had a hard time picking. Patriots, Titans, Mr. Hill.
It's tough because if Drake May's for sure playing, I'm taking the Patriots.
Yeah.
I'll just do it regardless. I'll take the Patriots.
Patriots over the Titans. Yeah, the Titans, they lose. They lost Hopkins to the Chiefs. And, they're just terrible. I guess maybe you shouldn't have fired Mike Vrabel. Maybe you wouldn't be so bad if you hadn't fired the coach that made you good. I don't know. Travis.
I'm going to take the Patriots too.
Patriots over the Titans. I too picked the Patriots over the Titans. I think that the Patriots, listen, they should be that they played good enough in a few games to be better than what they are. I think they got something there. They just can't quite figure it out yet. But they're good enough to beat the Titans. So, Raiders at the Bengals. Mr. Napper.
Bengals.
Bengals over the Raiders for Mr. Napper. Mr. Hill.
Bengals.
Bengals as well. Yeah, I got the Bengals too. A team on the upswing, unfortunately for you guys, and fortunately for one Logan Morris. So yeah, I'll take them in this one.
They did get destroyed last week.
They did, but I think I was the only one to pick the Eagles last week.
No, I think. Oh yeah, you were.
Yeah. So, kind of figured that would happen. I didn't think it would be that big of a blowout. I thought it'd be a close one, but yeah, that was a rough one for the Bengals. So yeah, straight down the line for the Bengals for your Buckeye Bros. Broncos at the Ravens, Mr. Napper.
I'm gonna take the Ravens as much as I don't want to.
I don't blame you, Mr. Hill.
Ravens.
Yeah, I got the Ravens too. They'll bounce back this week. The fact that the Browns beat them, boy, it was just though. Jim Donovan died. He, obviously the voice of the Browns. You almost feel like divine intervention played a little bit in that, and of course Jameis Winston being the religious nut he is, he's got a real good way of speaking to a team, and I respect that. He is no longer the guy who stole crab legs in college. No. And I saw a video that he, I think for the first time, tried Swenson's recently. I don't know if you guys are hip to Swenson's. It's more of a Northeast Ohio thing. But, yeah, it's a staple for LeBron and staple for Cleveland and Akron and stuff. And he loved it. He loved every part of it. So, yeah, I'll take the Ravens as well there. Chargers at the Browns. Do the Browns go 2-0 in 2 weeks? I say they do, Mr. Napper.
I do too.
Browns over the Chargers for Mr. Napper and Mr. Hill.
Yep, I'll take them as well.
Wow! I did not think we would go straight down the line on that one. The Chargers are just really hard to figure out.
You don't. They're like the Falcons.
Yeah.
You don't know.
And you know what? Anytime I can
Just
pick against
slightly worse.
Anytime I can realistically pick against Jim Harbaugh, I'm gonna do it. Just because I like seeing a miserable cheater. Saints at the Panthers, Mr. Hill. Saints over the Panthers. Yeah, I mean this one should be obvious, but like man, the Saints still have all those injuries. Mr. Napper.
I need the Panthers to win though.
I think they do get Carr back, so that is a little bit of a saving grace.
I forgot about that.
So I am going to take the Saints just solely off that.
Yeah. Apparently they're sticking with Bryce Young this week.
And like you said, they don't have Deontay Johnson anymore, so
yeah, that's true. That's true. They did lose him. Yeah, I picked the Saints as well. I think they might be sucky right now, but if they, with Carr back and stuff, maybe they revamp it and get it back to where it was. I think Olave might be playing too. I don't know. I don't know if he's off concussion protocol yet.
I'll say he's projecting me fantasy points.
Yeah,
So
we'll see. We'll see what happens to that. I need him because he's on my team. So please play. So straight down the line for Buckeye Bros there. Dolphins at the Bills. I'm almost positive this will be the same thing. Ryan, Travis.
Bills.
Yep. Bills straight down for your Buckeye Bros. I mean, with Tua back, you would think maybe, but I just don't. Yeah, I don't see it. I think I picked against them last week, or maybe I didn't. I don't know. I'd have to look back. Commanders at the Giants, probably another unanimous one, but I'll ask it anyway. Ryan and Travis.
Commanders.
Yeah, Commanders.
Commanders over the Giants, straight down the line for your Buckeye Bros. Let me type it in here. Yeah, Commanders are really fucking good, boys. Really fucking good. Yeah, he's the truth. Like, I knew he had a great season at LSU last year, and obviously him winning the Heisman wasn't a surprise. But I was just like, I don't know. I mean, he could be a good pro. He could not be a good pro. Just depends on where he goes. And then he got drafted to the Commanders, and I was like, oh well, he's fucked. That's a place where quarterbacks go to die. And he's just succeeding.
Especially people like his game.
Yeah.
The way he plays too.
Yeah, and he's just succeeding. He's doing everything I wish Dwayne Haskins could have done. Rest in peace to the king. Jags at the Eagles, probably once again another unanimous, but I will ask it anyway. Travis and Ryan.
Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles.
Don't let me influence you. I'm just assuming here. But yeah, Doug Peterson's trying to fuck around and get fired, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Maybe. Hey, he gave you guys a run.
Little rough. Yeah, he gave us a run, definitely. And I figured that would happen. Thank God we got a fucking kicker finally. Because he's saved us 2 weeks in a row. Bears at the Cardinals. This is maybe a tough one. Mr. Napper.
It's in Arizona. I will take the Cardinals.
Cardinals over the Bears for Mr. Napper. Mr. Hill?
I'll go Bears.
Bears over the Cardinals for Mr. Hill. And I, too, am picking the Cardinals. As long as Kyler Murray keeps getting Marv the ball, they can win any game they play. Because Marv is a G. And you got to stop costing him Offensive Rookie of the Year. Just get him the ball, he'll score. He diced up Jalen Ramsey last week. Diced him up all game. So just keep getting him the ball. Please, God. Rams at the Seahawks. I picked the Rams because the Seahawks burnt me last week. So I got to think the Rams are going to win this one, Travis. Tough one.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Rams.
Tough one. Mr. Hill?
Rams.
Rams straight down for your Buckeye Bros. Lions, Packers, Mr. Hill.
Detroit.
Lions over the Packers for Mr. Hill. Mr. Napper.
Which one are we doing?
Lions at the Packers.
Lions.
Lions over the Packers. This one was obviously tough for me. It's at home. The Lions are very, very good offensively. I gotta believe in Jeff Hafley. Clap, clap. Packers are beating the Lions at home. I'll probably pick them to lose in Detroit, but I think we can split with Detroit this year again. So I'm going to take the Packers here over the Lions. And then Colts at the Vikings. Mr. Napper.
Vikings.
Vikings over the Indianapolis Colts. Mr. Hill.
I don't care if Flacco is playing.
I'm tapping out. I'm tired.
That was embarrassing if that's true.
That is
so awful. Stupid. That is awful. He will never play a down. He'll never play a down of NFL football again because of that. That's terrible. Yeah, I'm picking
that was going to be my other hot take is he will never start ever again.
Yeah, I think that was inevitable anyway. But like, bud, you're not playing well, and then you go and say, "Hey, get me out." Like you better be hurt. You better be hurt. Because if you're just saying you're tired, you'll never play again in the league. And that was a reach of a draft pick anyway for the Colts, and we all knew it. And the Monday Nighter, a Super Bowl of a couple years ago rematch, just minus Tom Brady. The Tampa Bay Bucks go to play the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. Mr. Hill.
Chiefs.
Mr. Napper.
I'm going to be different. I'm going to pull the Bucks on this one. This is probably a really stupid pick, but I need a different one.
Boy, if he ends up being right about that would be something. I'm going to pick the Chiefs as well, just because of the injuries for the Bucks. I mean, if they were fully healthy, this could be an actually great game. But the Bucks are now relying on their tight end at this point, and the Chiefs just got DeAndre Hopkins. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs. And not be dumb about it for sure. Not that you're dumb, Travis. You're a ballsy man. You got ground to make up. I get it. You're a very, very intelligent dude. I'm seeing next week's Thursday Nighter. That's going to be a fun one. Bengals Ravens.
Ooh, buddy.
All right. So we will see what happens with rapid fire picks after this week. Will I keep the lead? Will Ryan start his mid to late season domination? Will Travis Napper come and take the crown next week? Who knows?
Find out next week on Rapid Fire Picks.
Find out next week on Rapid Fire Picks. I should make that a soundbite. That'd be great. Wolverine whiffs. Here we go.
3, 2, 1.
It really was. All right, so Wolverine whiffs this week. Obviously, the team up north has a big game this weekend. One that, they just beat their rival MSU. Really shouldn't have because they got outgained by like over 100 yards to MSU, but found a way to win. Kudos to them. Still little brother MSU is, blah, 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 blah. Obviously a lot of cocky Wolverine players and fans after that one thinking they just won the fucking Super Bowl or something. But it's given them a lot of confidence now. It's given them a lot of confidence. So here's the first one out there. Somebody, Brad, whatever the hell his last name says, what if Michigan beats Oregon? And then Michigan's armchair quarterback account says, what happens if we win out, huh? So that's on the table now. Wolverine fans are saying we're going to win out. And here's a couple others. The Red Ranger, a notorious idiot Wolverine fan on Twitter. Good morning, Michigan fans. We're beating Oregon Saturday. And has a picture of a Wolverine chewing on what looks like to be a dead duck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've always wondered, why is he the Red Ranger? Why would you want to be red? Is red a power color to you? Because Ohio State wears red. So I think you'd be the Blue Ranger, right? And then another notorious idiot on Twitter, AJ71827 says, Michigan is going to beat Oregon on Saturday. I get trying to manifest things. I really do. But let's not be dumb. This game won't be close at halftime. And if it is, I will be blown away because Oregon is doing something terribly wrong to keep it close. This should be another Illinois game where it's just a comfortable at-will game where they just get whatever the hell they want. And listen, that Warren played a decent game against MSU. Good luck this week. 3 picks probably on the horizon for them. All right. We are getting out of here. And good. We salvaged it to at least 10. So I'll take that all day, every day, especially with how long the first couple segments went. So we are on the College Football Dogs Media Network. We got a lot of other great shows on the College Football Dogs Media Network, like the Golden Boot Podcast, which is on every Monday and Friday at 8:30 p.m. The Big Ten Backers, our boys there, they talk everything Big Ten. They are on the Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30 p.m. on the College Football Dogs social media pages and their social media pages as well. And, of course, shows like the Sunbelt Syndicate, if you like Sunbelt football. They are on every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on the College Football Dogs Media Network and their socials as well. But you come here for the Buckeye Bro Show, which is on every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. until whenever we see fit to end, which tonight is 10:01. So next week we will talk about the Penn State game. We will then preview who's after Penn State.
Northwestern?
I'm blanking. Is it Northwestern?
Yeah, because I think it's Northwestern at Wrigley.
And then Purdue, and then Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So the Northwestern game, we will preview that after we talk about the Penn State game. Hopefully, it's good news that we talk about with the Penn State game.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk to you about what we learned in college football over the weekend. College football dead or alive lists as usual. A lot more teams will be moving on down the list, I'm sure. Hopefully Penn State moves off that top spot and joins us on the shaky ground tier. We'll see what happens with that, of course. And then whatever other topics that pop up, because I'm sure there will be some. So
and hopefully I won't have COVID from Georgia.
And hopefully Ryan will not have COVID.
Please don't have COVID.
So say some prayers and well wishes for Ryan as he goes down to SEC country, and hopefully he doesn't bring anything but good vibes back with him. So
I'm hoping
for you, buddy. So we will see you guys next week. Go Bucks. Penn State sucks, and go Ducks. Beat the Wolverines because fuck them in every way, shape, or form. So we will see you guys next week on the Buckeye Bro Show. I've been Keen Buckeye, Alex Brown, here with Hot Wheels, Travis Knapp, and Rival, sports guy Ryan Hill. See you guys next week. OH!
This is the Buckeye Bro Show on the College Football Dogs Media Network.